from last night. The only two left-handed bats in the Astros order, Brantley remains on the bench. Available and starting with his shoulder. What's going on, everybody? It's been a while since we did one of these, so you might as well just get in the thick of a playoff race. So it's the Houston Astros and the Seattle Mariners. We're at T-Mobile Park, and George Kirby is on the mound. For the Astros, it sounds like this. Jose Altuve leading off with Alex Bregman and Yordan Alvarez. Here in the top of the first will be Kyle Tucker, Jose Abreu, Yonder Diaz, Jez McCormick, Jeremy Pena, and Martin Maldonado. For the Mariners on the bottom first side when we get to it, J.P. Crawford, Julio Rodriguez, Cal Raleigh, Teoscar Hernandez, Jared Kelnick will join the lineup today with Eugenio Suarez, Mike Ford at DH with Ty France at first, and Josh Rojas will bat ninth and play second base. So this is a huge game, Alec, and again, I'm just glad to have you with me. It's been a while since I did our broadcast. It's been about a month here. So I might get back-to-back broadcasts the next couple days before we get into the baseball playoffs. But how are you doing, my friend?
Man, I'm doing good. And good to have you back here at the broadcasting booth, or the virtual broadcasting booth. I just wish we can do a game together in real life, but hey, a lot of implications here, especially with the AL West on the line. The Rangers are playing right now, and they're down 3-1 to the Angels as we speak. So, as this game has just started, we may get some live updates from that game as well. It's jam-packed AL West.
Yeah, we're going to have to, because as we talked about before, I know just in passing, it was the Mariners that were absolutely on fire to get themselves back into the playoff race about a month ago. But then you look at Seattle, they've lost 4 of the last 5. They got swept by Texas, but Houston just got swept by the Kansas City Royals. They did take the game last night with Justin Verlander on the mound. But now this is about as big as it gets here, Alec, on this side, because if I'm not trying to be hyperbolic here, but let's just say Seattle doesn't take this game, and maybe they don't take the game tomorrow, they could find themselves out of the wild card completely.
Yeah, they could, because this is must-win territory as it is. And even though this is getting redundant for them, this is, once again, must-win for them. Because, Toronto has the second wild card spots. The AL East is going to be decided between either Baltimore or Tampa Bay. They're guaranteed a playoff spot by this point. Houston and Seattle, Texas, they're in disputed territory in the AL West. Whoever is in third place is likely going to miss, given Toronto has basically guaranteed that second wild card spot.
Yes, they have at this point. I mean, I guess if you're Seattle with your back against the wall, if you can win out, you pretty much guaranteed yourself a spot, because then you can kind of take it away from the Houston Astros if possible. But that's really the last thing that they want to think about. They might need some help, but they're going to have to take care of their business right now. Jose Altuve is in the midst of a long at-bat. He's batting .311 on the season. Last time I checked it from a month ago, he was in the 260s. This one's cued off the end of the bat, sliding off the shift. And does Kirby get there in time? No, he does not. Jose Altuve is able to get a single, and the Astros off to a good start.
Houston has been getting everyone healthy at the right time.
Yes.
And with Jose Altuve, the last time I saw the Astros playing, it was the first baseball broadcast I was doing. They were playing the Angels that night on July the 16th. Altuve was not active for that game because he was nursing that injury, but now he's back into form. He never left, and Houston's happy to have his services.
Yeah, and you look at this lineup, when we talk about it, it's Altuve, Bregman, and Alvarez all ready to start, and then Tucker in the cleanup spot. Everybody getting healthy at the right time, everybody contributing, and Houston has their same eyes in a World Series as they should. Again, we can talk about some of the stuff in the National League going forward, but this team is just as good as any other team that the American League can offer, Alec.
Yeah, for sure. It doesn't hurt getting Justin Verlander back, and he's back to vintage Justin Verlander, shutting out the Mariners for 8 straight innings.
I got a chance to watch a lot of that in Detroit when he was here, and the vintage, I think, is the right word, my friend, on that side, because, again, you pick up somebody like him at the trade deadline. I don't care if he's in his 40s. You know exactly what you're going to get from him on that side. Bregman able to spit on the fastball down out of the zone and make it 1-1.
And the thing that catches me about T-Mobile Park, it's decided the Winter Classic at the turn of the new year 2024.
Yes, it is.
I can't wait to see who's going to get the ceremonial opening puck drop or opening pitch over there. I'm hoping it's Ken Griffey Jr.
That would be cool. And correct me if I'm wrong, Alec. Is that between the two latest expansion teams when the Winter Classic kicks off?
It is the Golden Knights and Kraken.
That's going to be a lot of fun. I think I'm going to have to keep my eyes glued to that one, even if we're not doing a broadcast. Kirby waiting on the 1-2. He's about to be 10 pitches into his day with Altuve at first and a fastball. The slam back foul, make it 2-2.
Ooh. Yeah, that's fastball that he can throw, in which Bregman swung at the top on that 1-2 pitch. But man, I know the Mariners pitching staff. It's been a season for them,
yes.
But that second half has been amazingly hot. No matter what happens, even if they don't make the playoffs, they can still play that spoiler role on the Rangers.
Yes, they can. And then going into your point that you just made about the pitching staff, they're really young, they're really good. And like you said, if Seattle doesn't make it this year, you would think next year going in with that starting five that they can throw out there on the mound, that's as good as anybody can offer. So at least you have the linchpin going forward. And another single split J.P. Crawford there, and the Mariners are quickly in trouble here with 2 on and nobody out.
It's one of those situations Houston's very comfortable with. And the Houston Astros that we know throughout this time, whether it be A.J. Hinch or Dusty Baker at manager, quickly filling up the bases off the bats. And if this continues on, we could see Los Bomberos early. I'm not saying they will come out here right now, but George Kirby, he has to be careful here.
Yes, he does. And again, we're talking about updates. I got this on the Root Sports feed. A 2-run jam for the New York Yankees take a 2-0 lead on the Blue Jays. That's going to help the Mariners here, but they got to take care of their own business right now. And they got one of the best hitters in all of baseball at the plate, Yordan Alvarez, as he takes strike one.
Yordan Alvarez coming back. Even though he's not the designated hitter, he came back from injury. Mm-hmm. He's their left fielder, but one of their best hitters in Houston. And Houston, they know what they can get out of him whenever he's batting.
Yes, and absolutely. In the playoffs last year, Yordan Alvarez made a living nightmare for the Seattle Mariners fans as he was able to hit key home runs to help the Astros win that series on that side. So you got to be careful of that anytime you play this guy. You just don't know where to pitch him. He can pretty much take anything out of the ballpark. It's 0-2, and this is on the ground. This is going to be a tough play. It was a bobble, but Alvarez not too quick. They are able to get the out at first, but it does put runners on second and third now with 1 out.
So basically, we got him out, but at what cost? So
sacrifice.
Alvarez, even if he got out, that was a sacrifice ground out to help out Altuve and Bregman advance further. So the Astros quickly within striking distance as Alvarez was able to squeeze right through that hole between first and second.
So now as the trains are going by T-Mobile, you get a chance to hear some of that now. Scott Service looking on with Kirby, trying to figure out what they're going to do with Kyle Tucker. Honestly, I'll just say this to you. I don't know how to get this guy out. 281 average, 29 bombs, and 110 RBI. The 26-year-old did recently sign an extension. He's going to be able to stay in Houston. He is one of the best hitters in the American League. We can talk about it all the way up and down the lineup here, Alec. It's the Astros. I mean, they're loaded all the way across the board, and you got ducks on the pond here. Tucker's probably getting at least one of them home.
You can imagine that. Would it be out through him? This kid has a bright future ahead of him in Houston.
Yes, he does. He just continually gets the job done. And oh, by the way, I know this is a small stat line, but 29 stolen bases as well. So hitting for power, hitting for speed, playing excellent defense, and the fastball just misses. Nothing wrong with the velocity here for Kirby, about 97, 98, but he's 2-0 against the count.
There's nothing wrong with that. The only thing that I would want for George Kirby in doing that would be trying to throw those fastballs right down through the strike zone and hope that Tucker either looks or swings and misses.
And this is a changeup just high, a 3-0 advantage here for Tucker. You would think, unless it splits the plate here, this would be an automatic take. Jose Abreu will be due up next. But speaking of that, they're just going to go ahead with the intentional walk. So the former Chicago White Sox is now going to bat with the bases loaded here for the Astros.
So the intentional walk, my guess is that they want to have the Astros with a lesser chance of trying to get something going here. But Abreu, he comes out of a grade A opportunity on a grand slam up against this Mariners outfield. Oh, and it appears that we're going right over to TBS because the game between the Braves and Cubs has concluded.
So if there is any sort of delay here, Alec, I can flip back that on my side. I'm using the MLB network for Root Sports just in case, because when I tried to use the picture, it was kind of cut in half and half. So Abreu takes a slider, falls away back. Now it's 0-1. Kirby's about to throw his 20th pitch of the day, and this is with the bases juiced already in the top of the first. Mariners can really only give up one here. That's the way that I see this. And this pitch is way down, right at the knees, make it 1-1.
So as we're seeing here, just barely right under the strike zone for George Kirby. And for Jose Abreu, if he gets this walk, we all know who gets that first run in. But early striking distance for the Astros, the defending champions.
Abreu, chopper, they get the out at home, and that's exactly what the Mariners need there, though the bases are still loaded.
Oh, exactly what the doctor ordered. A perfect throw to Cal Raleigh to get Jose Altuve out. That was perfect. You could not have got that up any better than that. But then again, the base is still loaded. You need to get one more out here to end things off and send it bottom the first.
Again, I know it's been a while since we did this broadcast, but when I look at these numbers, Dusty Baker went with Yonder Diaz, the DH, batting 6th instead of Chas McCormick. We'll see if Diaz can pull through here. Again, he is batting .285 with 23 bombs and 60 RBI, so his numbers are incredibly loaded. I just know Chaz has had the really breakout season, but he's 2 for 3 against Kirby here. He swings through the 0-1, and we'll see now what George is going to offer here. This is a critical at-bat early, and way out of the zone off the slider, and Diaz offers, and Kirby's is way out in front.
So as you mentioned, they went with Diaz before McCormick, and maybe the right call for Dusty Baker as Diaz's batting average is above McCormick by .007 points, 0.285 as opposed to .278. But you know about that swing out to the foul zone.
0-2. Crowd on their feet. He's just going to offer at it and stay alive down the first base line, and we'll do it again.
Well, someone's going to take that baseball home.
It's hard to believe, Alec. Again, I shouldn't say this, but I know the Astros and the Mariners are going to have a lot of intrigue for us, but we're already getting it at the beginning of this game, and this could be the most important time, even though it's right at the beginning. 0-2. As the pitch clock is down to 3, Kirby delivers, and another one fouled way out of the zone as Diaz is still alive.
So in that Braves game, as I'm watching back for one of the replays, the Cubs made a critical mistake, and that put the Braves up. The Cubs made a critical mistake, and that put the Braves up by 1-7-6. The Braves went on to, I believe, win that game over Chicago.
Diaz, weak ground ball. They're going to get this one at first, and the Mariners get out of it with the bases loaded.
Oh, that was amazing. I'm not sure how they did that, but they just did. A perfect throw, and they come out surviving. I don't want to make a pun, but they got the eye of the tiger there.
That was awfully close, and I don't want to miss the point that you just made about the Braves and the Cubs. The Cubs are in the middle of the wild card race in the National League, and to make a mistake and drop a critical game, that's going to put them almost in a must-win territory for tomorrow when they go back and play the Braves again.
Yeah, especially since they're up against multiple teams, including the Cincinnati Reds, the Arizona Diamondbacks, and the Miami Marlins. The Philadelphia Phillies already clinched the wild card spot. So the Cubs are up there with the Reds, Marlins, and Diamondbacks with the Giants and Padres. They're still in it, but they need help to get in. Speaking of the Reds, when I looked at that game between them and the Pirates, seeing that the Reds were up 9-0, and then the Pirates scoring 13 unanswered runs for the largest comeback in franchise history.
Man.
I was looking and saying, what just happened?
It's that time of year right now. We're in the final week of the regular season. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. I might end up doing the Tigers game just because of a Miguel Cabrera thing or the end. I'm going to be at Comerica Park on Saturday. I'll get a chance to watch Miguel Cabrera one more time before the retirement. I know that game's not going to be necessarily big across the standings, but I think I might want to get one more broadcast in before we get into the playoffs next week. Next week on that side, when we get into the wild card, I probably will cover one series all the way through, whether it'll be 2 or 3 games. And then the week after that, Alec, we're going to be getting into NHL regular season games again.
Oh, yeah, the home opener and the batteries night of the Golden Knights when they take on the other expansion franchise, the Kraken. Oh, I would love to see. I would be looking forward to these two teams going at it with each other. And plus, Connor Bedard's debut when he takes on his idol, Sidney Crosby, at Pittsburgh. These 2 games are going to be fun. Not to mention the Nashville-Tampa match going right before that.
So, did you lock in your calendar for sure, or is that the one you're going to cover between Connor Bedard and Sidney Crosby?
100%.
That's awesome. So we will have the back half of the games in there for you. I'll try to make sure that I jump into Alec's broadcast before that as well, before I start mine on the banner raising night. But as it is, I got Alec here with me. We're going to switch up in the second inning and bounce in between the play-by-play and color. Again, we're just glad to be back in the broadcast booth covering this with you. And honestly, I'm happy to work with Alec again. It's been a while. It's been a while since I did a broadcast here. So JP Crawford is going to dig in off the 0-1 on this side, and a fastball swung right through for JP. So Christian Javier, again, I'm just going to go through his numbers really quickly after getting some of this done last night. Let me just make sure that I get this correct here. So 9-4, a 4.64 ERA with a 1.28 WHIP. Those numbers in ERA, that ERA is probably about a run and a half higher than it was last year, and the WHIP is well over 1. So Christian Javier can throw maybe 5 or 6 different pitches. You can use them in the starting spot reliever, and I think if they can get in the postseason and he can offer a little bit more, the Astros will be more than happy to take it. It's 1-2 now, as this is a fastball right down the middle, and JP Crawford was late on it. Javier punches him out.
All right down the middle, and that swing and a miss, perfect throw from Christian Javier to get the first strikeout of this game. That was perfect from him. Was lying down and Cousins take a chance.
Yeah, it's something that you got to swing at. If JP's going to do it over again, he's going to realize I have to start the bat a little bit sooner here. But this brings up the 22-year-old superstar. I put in my notes, yes, he's back. Again, that month and a half that we talked about and we exchanged some messages on, I saw that it looked like Julio Rodriguez was the very definition of a pitching machine, Alec. He was on everything.
Yeah, that run through July and August propelled the Mariners to the position that they are now. This kid, 22 years old, a bright future ahead of him. Maybe a chance at being the face of the Mariners franchise among the batters.
You would have to think so. With all the greats they've had in between Edgar Martinez and Ken Griffey Jr., even having A-Rod there for a bit of the time, you think Julio Rodriguez can stand to be the best of the best. 31 bombs, 101 RBI, and a grand uppercut there, but it's 1-2 now.
So now he is taking chances, not afraid to send those deep shots right down to the field.
No doubt about it. He was trying to send that one down the left field line. That's what he does on the 1-2. Fastball will bust him in, and I'll put the count at 2-2. So again, I can't tell you anymore how critical of a game that this is. It doesn't matter in between. I know it's Cooper Hopkins' team, but on that side, in between the Flames and the Mariners, every time I end up covering one of these games, it just always seems to be playoff implications and big things that are on the line. And again, that's what we walk into right now, an 81-mile-an-hour change up. This one may get out of play. Yes, it does, just over the fence.
Just right over it. Oh, right into. I thought it was the dugout at first, but it wasn't. It's going somewhere right at the first row.
It is a packed crowd. The roof is closed. It's a little bit rainy here in Seattle, but everyone else can be able to stay dry. Again, you imagine it's going to be a sellout the rest of the way. You got one more game with the Astros and then a 4-game series to end the weekend with the Texas Rangers. So it just doesn't get any harder. It was Texas, Houston, and Texas again for the Seattle Mariners. So they're really kind of getting playoff competition to end the season. So if they can make it here, Alec, they're going to be as battle tested as anybody.
They will be, and even if they don't make it in, as is mentioned before, they can still play the role of spoiler to either one of these two teams. They also have another nationally televised game this coming Saturday.
Yeah.
That is their third game against Texas, the Mariners.
Yeah, and for Texas, I know we talk about it, man. They started the year hot. They went through a little bit of a lull. They threw any pitcher out there. They were giving up pretty much 10 every game. They've kind of leveled themselves back in with this sweep of Seattle. They've got to answer. Julio Rodriguez with a high fly ball, way foul. Almost had the distance though, but he was out in front of that changeup.
Oh, if only if it were several feet to the right.
It seems, as we've talked about, Julio Rodriguez, he's taking some big cuts against Javier right now. Again, you know that he's prone to a little bit of walks. They showed his barrel rates about 12%. The MLB average about 8%. So what that means is when he does make contact, it's loud and it goes a long way as he uses his disengagement.
And if you speak about loud crowds, we all remember about last year with the Cal Raleigh home run that sent the Mariners to the playoffs for the first time in practically my entire lifetime.
Yes.
I mean that literally.
Absolutely on that side. I know we got a few years between us. I think Alec's 22, I'm 36. So again, he's accurate in saying that. I've only seen the Mariners in postseason maybe a couple times. I still remember Ken Griffey Jr. on the cover of Sports Illustrated for Kids, and Rodriguez is gonna have to go grab some pine. He went way out of the zone on a fastball.
Just a tad to the bottom on that swing. It was just that ball was pitched a little bit, several inches above the bat, and that'll cause him to get some Gatorade over the benches.
Absolutely. I don't want to speak this into existence here for Mariners fans, but Christian Javier, just a couple batters in through his day, he looks pretty good right now. Cal Raleigh does have a lot of power. 94. This one's just going to be a can of corn in the middle of the infield. Altuve's got it, and the Mariners go 1-2-3. Although they do get out of a bases loaded jam in the top of the first, Alec's going to take it over here in the second.
So you go right into this second inning. We're looking into this loaded playoff race. Everyone talks about the AL West. How about the AL East? Because that is jam-packed, and it seems the Orioles, they have control of that division. Though the Rays, they're not going away. They're just 2.5 games behind.
Mm-hmm.
Though the Orioles are still in the driver's seat, doesn't mean the Rays, they're not going to win it. But it's still possible.
I think for me, Alec, I know this goes without saying, but now the wild card series over the last couple of years is a best of 3. It's not one and done anymore, but it's hard to believe if you're Tampa and you've almost won 100 games and you still will have to go into the wild card.
Because Baltimore has been having a breakout season for the ages and one to remember.
Yeah, they really have. In between Adley Rushman, a lot of the other kids, Gunnar Henderson on that side as well. Baltimore's not only had the breakout, Alec, but I'd venture to say that they're not going away anytime soon. I think they're going to be here for a while. The New York Yankees, they've been eliminated. They're 80-77 on that side. They were way below 500, but looks like Boston's going to finish with the worst record. And the Atlanta Braves, I know we talked about this maybe about a month ago when we did our last broadcast. They're at 101 wins. And again, I know there's some good teams in the National League, the Phillies being one of them, one of the top wildcard spots of it. And I don't want to get too far ahead of myself here, but I think the Braves are probably the class of the National League on that side. I know the Dodgers are also there as well, but I'd be shocked if the Atlanta Braves are in the World Series.
Yeah, considering that they have 2 MVP caliber players on that same team, between Ronald Acuna Jr. and Matt Olson. These two can light it up at any time. Acuna being in the 40-70 club, first player to do so. Not to mention about Olson and his electrifying home runs. Well, I can definitely see the Braves in the World Series. They played earlier today, or tonight, excuse me, and they survived the Cubs on a fielding error on an outfield. Atlanta certainly gunning for the World Series, the second one in 3 years.
I know you're going to get into this. I think the American League is wide open. National League, maybe not so much, but we'll see. Take it away, my friend.
All right, so now we're going into the top of the second inning. George Kirby at the mound here for the Seattle Mariners, and now at bat, Chas McCormick coming up next here in place of Jose Abreu. So here's McCormick with a .278 batting average, .862 OPS, has 22 home runs and 70 runs batted in. So a foul ball to the right line, and as an early foul ball, 0-1 the count here. So we're waiting on the pitch from Kirby, and this one goes right onto the glove of the shortstop and grounded out.
J.P. Crawford able to field that one cleanly again from the bases loaded situation in the first. Seattle wants to get some more conventional plays in this middle infield.
They should, considering Houston has been stacked up and down the lineup. And here comes Jeremy Pena. Speaking of shortstops, when you mentioned J.P. Crawford, the shortstop for the Mariners, he is number 3 facing another number 3. Pena here, and this one right down for the bottom, 0-1.
We'll see if Kirby can get through this inning with a little bit less pitches underneath his belt, but any way you can get through the Astros, you'll take it.
We're seeing Jeremy Pena, one of the better shortstops that Houston has around in the AL West. Oh, a wild hit, and Pena may have slipped up there.
It's going to be one of those situations where the ball jams him inside, he hits it off the bat, goes right off the right side of his foot. That one's going to hurt, but he's still in the batter's box down 0-2.
Oh, yeah, that hit his left foot. Yeah, the New Balances. Yeah, that left foot. See if he's all right here. Oh, he is. He's going to fight off through his own power on that, and he's back at the batter's plate. So waiting for the 0-2 pitch. And right down through bottom left corner, outside the strike zone, 1-2.
That was outside, but plenty of movement there for Kirby. See if he can get Pena on the ropes here.
I'm hoping that he can, considering the Mariners, their pitching staff, they're full of firepower here. This one way outside the strike zone, well to the left of it, and that evens up the count at 2.
Yeah, early we've seen the Houston Astros really work this count.
And they have been. So pitching clock now at 2 seconds. And Pena was caught looking at it. Didn't even take a chance at it. He is tossed out.
I wanted to make sure I didn't jump all over you there. I was kind of wondering what he was looking for. They were saying they were working the pitch count. Well, it was right down the middle half of the plate. You got to offer at it.
You have to. Because I was thinking that he thought that this was going out, but no, this was going right down the middle. And we all knew that this was going down the middle. You got to take a shot at it. Here comes their next man coming right up. That would be Maldonado, the catcher. 0-1.
That first curveball was nasty on the inside black. All he could do was spit on it.
And speaking of curveballs, that was a splitter that went down at 84. Well to the bottom. 1-1. So we're waiting for the 1-1 pitch from George Kirby. Maldonado with .193 batting average on the season. And swing and a miss as this was going right down for right center. The fans like this.
It's one of those guys you would expect to get out, even though Dusty Baker puts him out there. It's all about defense for Martin Maldonado, for the 36-year-old at this point.
The old grizzled veteran, as you pointed out, known for his defense, is all-reliable wherever he has gone. So one more strike does it here. The pitch comes here, and this one bouncing over the left field, caught, and then thrown to first base to Ty France. Now
Yes, it will. And again, as we talked about for Seattle, they wanted to make that about as easy as you like. I'd say they did so in the top of the second. I know we have a comment in here saying, you guys ever do collabs? Again, we've done a few, mostly on the hockey side, but we're always willing to get broadcasts together. We've also covered some NCAA championship games as well. So Alec and I are very familiar with all that. We're just kind of getting, well, at least I am, getting my feet back underneath me. Alec's been doing a lot of football and all that stuff, but make sure you follow him because he's always really good at what he does.
These past 3 weeks with football season going around, and next month is going to be the best time of the year for sports. Not
Yes,
only
it
NFL
is.
season, MLB playoffs, but also the beginning of the NHL and NBA seasons, with the NHL coming first.
I'm going to plan on that first week. I know, as we said, Alec's going to cover the game in between the Blackhawks and the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'll have the night game on the Tuesday between Seattle and Vegas. After that, I might have an opener with Cooper Hopkins with the Flames and Jets. And then I think I'm going to subject myself to some Red Wings and Devils on the Thursday side, and then I'll be done for that week. Next week will be a wild card setup for myself. So, trying to get back into all of it here, but this is going to be a lot of fun. And then after that first week of hockey, Alec and I'll reach out with him to make sure that we can maybe do at least a game a week on that side. I know we have busy schedules on that end, but Alec, my plan is at least you and I could probably do maybe 25, 30 games this year. I know it sounds like a lot, but a game a week I think is something that we can definitely get into if it fits the schedule.
It can definitely fit that schedule for sure. And speaking of games here, we have an update here. The Angels are up 4-1 on the Rangers here.
Wow.
Kind of a shocker to me because, the Angels have shut down Shohei Ohtani for the season, and a lot of speculation about where he will go in free agency. There's a lot of talk surrounding that. The Rangers fighting for the AL West title. So are the two teams we're covering here.
That's interesting because when you think about Shohei, I understand the situation with Mike Trout and Shohei. I get all that, but now he's injured, right? He gets the UCL surgery. He's going to be able to bat next year, but he cannot pitch into the following year. I wonder if that cost Shohei maybe about $250 million.
It could, because we're thinking about how high his contract will go. We were thinking about as high as $700 million.
Right.
That would set the record for the largest contract in North American professional sports history. That would beat out Patrick Mahomes in that category.
Yeah, and I don't even think it's unfair to say it. He's probably worth every penny if he would have got it.
Yeah, he definitely is. So now we're back here for the bottom of the second inning. De Oscar Hernandez coming in with a batting average .263, OPS of .758, 26 home runs, 92 runs batted in. So the first one is a strike, 0-1 to count. Javier with the second pitch. And this one, high up in the air. This one's going to be spotted and caught by Yerdy Pena.
So I want to see who's due up next. And Jared Kelenic, again, the 24-year-old, he was really highly drafted in the first round. He can do a little bit of everything. About 252 average, 11 bombs, 49 RBI. He can steal some bases. He just isn't consistent with MLB pitching here. So we'll see if he can continue to improve going forward.
And we're looking for that improvement down the stretch because the Mariners really need it from him, because .252 batting average, which isn't anything that spectacular, but he can show it in flashes.
Yes, he can. And again, that curveball down the middle, you think he'd want to hit that one.
And yeah, that curveball, you think, because that was right down for the strike zone, 0-1 to count. 11 home runs, 49 runs batted in. So Cristian Javier will try this again. And this one going lined out to the foul zone. 0-2. So Kelenic, he hurt his foot, but since he returned on September 11th, he was 8 for 31 with 4 RBI, 8 walks. This time this will go out to the second baseman, and Jose Abreu will toss him out. And that will take the Mariners likely to their final out. Yes, it will.
So Eugenio Suarez, again, 21 bombs, 92 RBI, 66 walks. He's got 207 strikeouts. I always like to say for the former Tigers, either going to walk, strike out, or hit a home run. We'll see what he does here.
You can never know what to expect. So the first pitch for Eugenio Suarez. Oh, a high ball. Way up high there. And the catcher catcher there, Maldonado, had to make sure to catch that. Otherwise, that could have been, I don't know what to say for the Astros here, but 1-0 the count.
Wow. Javier looks like he might have got a pitch in the same spot.
I don't know what about that. Now, this next pitch, barely above the strike zone, 2-0. Now a 4-mile-an-hour fastball.
Yeah, Alec, they called that last one a strike, and that was just as high as the last pitch.
I mean, just got it on there. The umpires had to go back and fix something, but that one cannot be fixed as this was well to the left of the strike zone 2-1. So waiting here for the 2-1 pitch. This goes, and they'll count it as it barely got on the line, 2-2.
Yeah, Suarez is having a little bit of a chat with the home plate umpire. He's missed a couple calls here for sure.
Okay, they have. Because they're looking at it, this barely was on the line, but if it was just by the line, but I didn't see any part of that ball go on the line.
That's above the box for sure.
Yes, about at that point. The count is at 2-2. Here's Javier. And Suarez will get off easy on that one. This one tips off the bat, goes right behind everyone, including the catcher Maldonado. Hits the brick wall. Javier has pitched 25 times already. And out here, or strikeout, we'll get the Astros back at bat for the third inning. So Javier is going to pitch out. Just got it up on the pitch clock. Full count now as this goes well to the left.
Mike Ford would be waiting on deck should Suarez reach.
That's what we are looking at. He is on deck, practicing his swings in the event Suarez were to get this one up on a walk or run batted in. Swing and a miss there. Javier got another one. And that brings us to the end of 2.
I will say that's a perfect pitch right on the left side black, right in the middle of the zone as Suarez punches out again. 96 must be playing up a little bit as Javier able to get about 3 punchies here within the first 6 outs. So he's looked very good so far.
So far, so good, especially on the last time in which I saw Javier when he was pitching against the Angels. That was a back-and-forth game. The final score was 9-8. Talking about the July 16th one. It was the night after the Angels walked it off on a throwing error by the Astros, 13-12 in the 10th inning. But that last ball, that was a great catch, and that last ball by Kyle Tucker. I was covering that game, the first baseball game I was covering.
Yeah.
Sean and I were doing that one together, and man, that was an outstanding catch. Kyle Tucker from the right field, he spotted that and acrobatically with his glove saw that all the way like a hawk.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, in terms of everything else that the Astros can do, getting him signed to a contract extension so early, and again, just 26, it seems like every single year he's gotten better. I think that'll be one of the fans' things, whether or not it's underrated to them. And I know that sounds silly, but the only reason I bring it that way, when you have Altuve, Bregman, Alvarez, you already have just a hellacious lineup, and Tucker's another piece that they get to keep for several more years. So I think they got that done at a perfect time, and as you showcased, Tucker can do everything.
He's a dual type of player, whether it be on the outfield or at bats, where he gets some reps over the inside. But then again, he can do everything for this Astros team. And what I'm seeing here, they're doing this right now with Corey Julks in the minors right now.
Yeah, Corey Julks, he played a big portion of the games, especially early in the year when he had a lot of injuries. And you're right, Corey Julks will be another person that they'll bring into the outfield, especially you'd think next year. He's got speed for days, and he can put the bat on the ball. So the Astros, their development system alongside Nolan Ryan, you remember the pitcher back in the day. He used to GM, really, essentially, of the Astros. They work with the Rangers now at the Astros, and they're loaded, even on their farm system.
Yeah, up and down through this lineup wherever you go. So, third inning, take it away, John.
So this is just going to be an easy play on the second base. Josh Rojas able to get Jose Altuve on one pitch. Again, that sounds good to George Kirby's ears because you remember from the top of the first, the bases were loaded with one out. Kirby was able to dance around it, but now he's going to have to deal with the top of the order again. He got Altuve, now he's going to get Bregman.
And then a good spot by Josh Rojas to catch Altuve out because that was a sky ball way up high. And Rojas, who was brought in from Arizona at the deadline,
yes,
picking up where he left off.
It's hard to believe when you go ahead and you trade Paul Sewald as your closer. He was probably one of the best Mariners that you could have asked for on that side, getting the job done. And then the Mariners went on the huge run when they got Rojas and Canzone and all the other pieces there from the D-backs. And then I see that the D-backs just got a huge win over the White Sox, so they're in the thick of it. And again, as Alec said, Cubs lost to the Braves, so that's going to have big implications. I mean, this whole week in the mix with football and all that. If you want to get some intrigue, keep an eye on the MLB standings for this entire week because it's going to go right down to the wire in both leagues.
For sure, especially with the Dodgers and Giants playing for basically who's going to get eliminated in the NL first. Whether it be between these two teams. So the Dodgers, they're on that hot run. They still need help from the outside.
Yeah, they do, and it's hard to believe because they got so many good players. This is blasted right at Eugenio Suarez. We'll toss it over to Ty France, and 2 up, 2 down here for George.
Like last time around, Eugenio Suarez got that ball to get the Astros out in the second inning for the final out. And then this time around, this was a faster ball lined up down the left side, and then that was a laser right to Ty France.
It'll bring up Yordan Alvarez. At least this time the bases are clean. They were bases loaded on that side. As this is a curveball way up high, but this is picked up by Cal Raleigh. I think Tom Murphy is spending some time on the disabled list. So the other backup catcher that we saw the last time, I think we did the Minnesota Twins games, but almost like a month and 2 weeks ago on that end. So he's not there, but you got Cal Raleigh behind the dish today. And this one is slammed for Yordan, but this will be shallow center field. And Julio's got it, and the Mariners able to get that one quietly. Everybody's standing and clapping here for George, and now the Mariners got to get something going here at the bottom of the third. We're still scoreless.
Well, this game's progressing faster than the Braves Cubs game, and that was going on for 3 hours already. But so far, with the defenses showing out, so far, it's been going as quickly as many fans were wanting for baseball games go faster. A point of emphasis on why they added the pitch clock. But as you mentioned about Tom Murphy, he is nursing a bump injury. He's on the 10-day IL.
So if Seattle can get into the playoffs, they'll probably be able to get him back, most likely, on that end. But again, it's no picnic because it's the Astros tomorrow. And then again, as we said, 4 games against the Texas Rangers. I saw on the Root Sports side, so far Seattle against the Astros this year are 8-3 against them. So they're going to need to finish off these next 2 games and then kind of just bounce back from when they got swept aside by Texas just a few days ago. So it's about as difficult as it gets. But as we said in the opening here, Seattle essentially can control their own destiny. They're just going to have to do so against the best teams in the American League.
And they have to, especially since they're facing the Rangers, Astros, and again the Rangers in pregame, and 4-game series.
Yeah.
It's a primetime game and a national audience on the 3rd game against the Rangers at home. So they play the rest of these games at home. So that's what it is for this slate in Seattle. But if we're looking at it, even though historically the Astros have had the Mariners' number, this year feels very different when you look at them. Because last night was just the 3rd win in 11 tries by the Astros.
Yeah, it's hard to believe considering how good the Astros lineup is, but I also think it goes back into our point that we made at the beginning of the cast. The pitching staff for the Seattle Mariners is very, very good.
And no matter how you throw out there, would it be in the starters or the relief pitchers.
Yeah.
Basically, when you look at it, whoever they have a pitcher turns into an absolute gem. Would it be George Kirby, Luis Castillo, Paul Sewald, Andres Munoz? Edwin Diaz was originally with Seattle before he came to the Mets as their closer.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that's gone through the Seattle system as far as pitching. They've got that in spades, and they've done well with it. Christian Javier, again, this is bottom three. We're still scoreless. Again, I told you about Javier's numbers in the open, that they're a little bit high. If they get this version of Christian like they got last year, this is just another weapon that Houston can use, whether it's a starter or a spot start or anything else. As Mike Ford able to spin on a fastball, a little bit high out of the zone, make it 1-1.
Christian Javier, as you mentioned, if he continues pitching like this, as was noted by Dusty Baker into the games, heading down the stretch and into the playoffs, if he continues pitching like this, Houston may get another deep run out of themselves, but they're going to face tough competition. The AL is wide open here. There's no clear winner. So the Astros, they basically have lost that grip on being the favorites to come out the AL.
I think I agree with you, Alec, wholeheartedly. I'm not even saying that because I know you well on that side, but I think it is wide open. Mike Ford able to serve a fastball. That just split the middle of the plate, and Tucker going to have to play it on the hop. So the Mariners get their first hit of the game, bottom third, one on, and nobody out.
About time it happens. Because if we're looking at the Seattle Mariners, of course they wanted that hot run through July and August. In September, it seems they've hit a wall.
Yes.
So it seems it's been, historically speaking, this is where they hit a wall most of the times. If they're going to get something going offensively, this may be the starting point for the Mariners.
Yeah, it's got to happen right now. Ty France batting eighth, a grand cut of a fastball just outside the zone. 249, 10 bombs, 56 RBI. Again, I've seen Ty anywhere between the 4 spot, 5. Now he's on the 7 and 8. He will give you a good at bat. He doesn't have a ton of power. He's 1-11 against Christian Javier, so he's going to want to bump those numbers up, but he's not going to do it with swings like that. Make it 0-2.
Of course not. You mentioned Ty France. Even though he had that 3-run home run at the beginning of the season, the first game for the Mariners of this season, but if he's going to get something going, as you mentioned, he needs to get that power right on that bat if he wants to get something.
Again, right on cue from what we're talking about. The number is 256. This one just over the netting. Make sure Jose Abreu doesn't hurt himself, but this is caught with a fan with an Ichiro jersey on. Again, you love to see that. But again, 256, no home runs, no RBI against the Astros. And this is over 11 games. They need Ty to do more.
More than what he's put up, especially considering it is a division rival. Of course, you see that. Of course, these two teams, they don't like each other, but man, just barely over the netting for Jose Abreu.
0-2 now. This Ty is behind the count here. This will be pitch number 35, and Javier with a fastball way high. And this is thrown back to Maldonado. So we'll see if he can work his way into it. Again, the Mariners are able to get a guy at first with Mike Ford on a base hit that Kyle Tucker played in on a hop. But that's it, and that's all so far. The Astros have left the bases loaded at the top of the first. Kirby was able to get out of it. See what Ty France can do with a 1-2. This one served off the end of the bat, and the Mariners got runners at first and second now.
Exactly what the doctor ordered. Exactly what Ty France was looking for on Christian Javier. So we're mentioning about getting that power off the bat from Ty France. Showed that and able to squeeze between first and second of a high ball, not exactly a high ball, but just enough to get it right over the heads of everyone on the Astros before it reached the outfield.
Yeah, it's great hand-eye coordination because he could have spit on that one and still been alive in the batter's box, but he went after it, saw it the whole way, got his bat head down, and served it into right field. So again, as we talk about with the Astros at the top of the first, as we mentioned, they didn't score. Now the Mariners have runners at first and second, as you got Ford at second and France at first. See if they can come through here at the bottom of the order. It's Josh Rojas due up.
It gives me a slight smile on my face knowing that I want the Mariners to complete this unbelievable run of a playoff push
Yes, and I want to see again, as I've talked about, if Christian Javier can work his way out of this. Dusty Baker and the rest of the crew want to see it not only for tonight, but to use it as fuel going forward. Is he going to be a guy you're going to use in the sixth inning of a playoff game? Is he going to start? What's he going to do? And this is a fastball way high, and all of a sudden, Christian Javier's in trouble with runners at first and second, nobody out, and a 2-0 count.
All of a sudden, the tables have turned. Because at first it was George Kirby managed to get out of that. Now Christian Javier may be in that same situation that Kirby was at in the first inning. The Mariners got out of that one. We may need to know if the Astros can do the same here and respond in kind.
Way high. It's 3-0.
Here comes the Mariners at this point. And they may get the bases loaded here. No outs if this holds up.
This has got to be a situation right now. If Rojas reaches, the Mariners have got to get one. They can't leave it stranded like the Astros did. 3-0, and this is an obligatory take here for Rojas. Make it 3-1.
Oh, it was going right down through left center. You got to swing on that one. Take a chance at it. You cannot just look at it because it was going right inside the line.
3-1. We'll see if Rojas changes his tactics again. Javier is the one that's got to get out of it. Beautiful pitch in on the hands, but Rojas able to stay with it. It's now full count.
That was going way up into the air. He was able to stay with that the entire way. So Javier knows that he has to get out that, and he forced Rojas to take a chance.
What can Rojas do here with a full count, runners on first and second, and nobody out? It's a scoreless bottom third. And this would have been ball 4, but Rojas will fight it off down the right field line. He sees he's a little bit upset with himself, but he'll dig back in.
And on the deck is J.P. Crawford in the meantime. So still, as we're looking at Rojas with a .292 batting average with RISP, with 3 doubles, a home run, and 33 RBIs, struck out 17 times. So everything is there for Rojas. Just need to get something.
Full count pitch. 3-2. This one slammed to right field. Tucker's got an eye on it. Makes a great catch. Will this sacrifice the runners? Ford over to third. And this one will go up high. Does it go out of play is the question. And is it going to get a run in? Yes, it is. It goes over to the third base dugout side, and the Mariners have scored.
So the sacrifice fly works. Kyle Tucker makes the makes the grab there, a jumping grab. That's what he does. It gets the Mariners on the board, even though the Astros were trying to get everybody out. I mean, everyone. They're only to get one out. That would be Josh Rojas on that jumping grab. Rojas was hoping that it would hit the wall. Tucker spotted that the entire way. Everyone was hurrying up. And then that last throw just missed Alex Bregman.
So the relay throw from Tucker to Altuve was clean, but it was Altuve that airmailed it like a hand grenade into the dugout side that allowed the Mariners to score. Unbelievable.
Right towards the cameraman.
So that was a giant break for the Mariners because, let's face it, Alec, Tucker just made a fantastic catch, but now it's a runner at second with J.P. Crawford at the dish.
Everything went well for the Astros until it didn't.
Yeah, you can't really say it any better. As it's Crawford, he's going to take a pitch low and make it 2-0. So as we said, the Mariners do draw first blood. That's absolutely what they needed to do now. But with one out and a runner at third here, Crawford's got to do his best just to get a sacrifice fly.
Yeah, you got to do something in here to build off of this week. You have the runner at third base. That is Ty France. Can build off of here.
So Crawford takes a curveball up high. It's 3-0. Again, it would bring up Julio Rodriguez. I don't think if you're Javier, you want to work in for a double play situation. It's hard to double up one of the fastest men in all of baseball anyway. But he does walk Crawford, so maybe that's what he is trying to do. But nonetheless, this brings up Julio Rodriguez. And now the danger is flipped toward the Astros side because Rodriguez could put a large number on the scoreboard quickly.
to expand that lead from 1 to 4 so he can quadruple this lead in the Mariners' favor. That is what's up for grabs. Another update here from Anaheim. The Angels hit a sacrifice fly. It is 5-1 LA.
I know it's just one game, Alec, and again, Texas, as we talked about, coming off the sweep of the Mariners, but that is an absolute surprise to me.
Yeah, an absolute surprise because when you're looking at it, the whole situation with the Angels, you think that this would be an easy win for the Rangers.
Right.
Well, they need to know that even though the Angels don't have Shohei or Trout, they're still a professional football team. It should be football. The baseball team, it should be treated as such.
Well, from what we talked about, again, you made the point about it. Anybody can beat anybody on a given day. And if you know you're not making the playoffs, playing the spoiler can sink a burn into another team, and that's what you want sometimes. So Julio Rodriguez off 0-1. It was down the left field line. We'll do it again. Pitch number 49, and Rodriguez tried to go with the fastball. Would have been a ball nonetheless. Could have been 2-0, but it's 0-2.
Oh, if this was just a straight ball right down through the area, somebody's got it, and the fans are cheering the guy catching the ball and taking that home. And then again, as we mentioned, Julio Rodriguez on this unbelievable run that he's been having, he's not afraid to take any chances. And meanwhile, Ty France is being checked at.
Julio Rodriguez will sky one on the left field line. This one is deep enough. This should score. The runner from the third side. Alvarez doesn't have a great arm. This one gets cut off. And that's absolutely what the Mariners needed there. Julio Rodriguez comes through. 2-0 M's.
Another sacrifice fly paying off here for Seattle. Seeing that Ty France is coming out there, and then the throw right afterwards with Yordan Alvarez catching it, even though Julio gets flown out, Ty France manages to sprint right down from third base right to the home plate, the catch, and then that sprint like he's at a track meet.
So Colorado with a man at second now. We'll see if the Mariners can continue to cash in. I won't say that they've done enough because, again, you want to go ahead and add as much as you can. But the Astros, as we talked about, they were in the same position. They came up with nothing. George Kirby able to get out of it. Javier's already surrendered two. We'll see if there's any more. There's a curveball way out of the zone and a good eye by Raleigh. Make it 1-0.
So this is basically the opposite of the situation of George Kirby that he was at in the first inning. Bases were loaded back then. The defense came up top. So the Houston Astros, their outfield is more known for offense when it comes to swinging the bat. Defense, they're there. But the Mariners, they're holding up tall here. They're keeping with them.
I would agree with you on that. We take Kyle Tucker out of the equation. When you talk about Yordan Alvarez in that corner, it's not the greatest arm, so I'm totally with you on that side. 1-1. This is a curveball high. Again, Eugenio Suarez had that called a strike against him 2 times, but the catcher did not there. Make it 2-1.
Yeah, just several inches right above that strike zone. By the way, it is 6-1 Angels. It appears that the AL West is continuing to be a game of hot potato.
Well, that makes me even more happy that we did this game, my friend, on that side, because we've had some good updates across the board. And this game is going to mean a hell of a lot more because if Texas continues to drop those games, who knows where they'll end up? They might be in the wild card spot.
I mean, it's so jam-packed there. We don't know if there's going to be a certain winner there. That was a low pitch from Javier, and it lands right near the upper tie area of Maldonado.
Cal Raleigh took a couple curveballs low. He's going to reach first on the walk.
Oh, just let that one fly right down. Just let it fly below the strike zone. That's what Cal Raleigh was anticipating. He saw that this was a low ball, and this will be a mound meeting here. Second time that they have used a mound meeting between the Astros staff and Cristian Javier.
I believe you get 2 more of those. Again, Javier, 55 pitches into his day. It's a bottom 3, 2 on, 2 out. Again, they want to make sure they get everything right for the former Blue Jay Teoscar Hernandez, who's still got a lot of thunder in his bat. Last 7 starts, 5.61 ERA with 7 bombs allowed and a 10% walk rate. Phil Maton is already warming up here for the Astros. They have a bevy of right-handed pitching that is good, but at the same time, as I've said going into this is also a watchful eye here for Christian Javier, what you want to do in the postseason side, because if he looks shaky, I don't think he's going to be getting starts in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't think he would be getting starts in the playoffs if he keeps getting games like these. Dusty Baker said that he was getting back to form here heading into this game, but now it's looking much like the opposite.
Yeah, it's looking like the numbers that we've seen from this year's side in comparison to 4.64 when he was closer to a high 2 ERA from last year. So an 0-1 pitch, Teoscar Hernandez, batting 300 with runners in scoring position. Not a lot of home run power, but he does have 27 RBI with the runners in scoring position and 2 outs, make it 1-1.
Smart decision to not take a swing on that. This ball was headed way to the left, and I mean way to the left. So he backed out of that one, knew it was going wide left.
He made a smart decision on the first pitch, but on the second one, he went for a golf swing, my friend.
Ooh, I mean, like he's going to go up against Tiger Woods at the Masters.
He's got a really colorful selection there for the cleats in between the blue and pink. I'm going to say, honestly, I like those. You got some swagger on that, but you got to come through here with first and second. This one is Off the Mask of Maldonado. Might have also struck the home plate umpire, so we'll give them an extra beat.
Ooh, that's always a scary sight when you see a ball go off a body part or the catcher's mask here in this game, in any of these games. That time it did. Off the bat, off the mask, and glad that Maldonado is okay.
60 pitches in the Javier's day, and now it's 2-2 is the fastball. This is on the outside left part of the plate.
We'll see how long he can stay on the mound here, considering the night that he has had, especially in this third inning. He doesn't want the third inning to define this night, but how much longer he's going to stay before Phil Maton, the spin rate, gets put in.
Beautiful off-speed slider got Hernandez out in front. He got the strikeout he badly needed, but the Mariners, they draw first blood. They're up 2-0 after 3.
2 sacrifice, fly outs leading to 2 runs, one from Julio Rodriguez, and Seattle on the driver's seat here. They'll have to face the Astros batting when we come back here in Seattle. Beautiful city, beautiful ballpark.
Yes, it is. Again, that was a lot of fun. And from what you talked about is you're going to get into this 4th inning. What I mentioned there for Javier, and I completely agree with you, that was a stressful 3 innings. I mean, he's already middle 60 portion of his day as far as pitching. You might only see Javier for 1 more inning if that continues the way that it's going to be before they go to Phil Maton.
Javier will have to turn things around here 3rd inning before anything else happens here. A turnaround in the 4th inning could extend his night, but that 3rd inning was very stressful for him. Maybe something in his mind popping up or something else. And he has to turn things around here before they put in Phil Maton.
So when we get to the 4th, and Alec's going to take up for this, it's going to be Kyle Tucker, Jose Abreu, and Yainer Diaz 4, 5, and 6 for the Astros.
As we're looking around through for the rest of the MLB in the meantime, so I'm looking at the current scores are going right now. So we had some final scores. The Yankees held off the Blue Jays 2-0, and the Blue Jays looking to hold on to that second wild card spot and avoid falling down to the 3rd spot, because the Astros, Mariners, and Rangers, they're in the hunt for the AL West. Whoever doesn't win that and ends up in 2nd place is likely going to get the final wild card spot in the AL, but this is a very tight race.
Yes, it is. It's going to come down to Sunday, no matter what league you're in between the American League and the National League. So I encourage everybody to keep their eyes peeled. If you want some intrigue, this is the biggest portion of intrigue that you're going to get because, as Alec said, when we get into the next couple weeks, hockey's going to start. You got baseball playoffs. You're going to have the NFL season continue to move on, but this is a playoff race, and you make sure that you keep your eyes locked into the baseball standings because it's going to be good.
I might have to, if this playoffs get intense, then maybe I might have to sacrifice one of my NFL slots for an MLB playoff game.
I think that might be a good decision on your part, my friend.
Yeah, considering this is a very jam-packed race, and I'm loving what I'm seeing here heading into playoff baseball. Always the most exciting. So you're here, fourth inning, George Kirby back inning, and for the top of the fourth, and this one right down through bottom center. Just snuck it right inside Kyle Tucker, 0-1.
So it's going to be interesting to see here, Alec, as you said, how sharp is Kirby going to be after what happened on the other side for Christian Javier? It's very important now that the Mariners are taking the lead that he kind of battens down the hatches and closes it down.
And speaking of that, a foul ball for Kyle Tucker swung it beyond the left foul line. It is 7-1 Angels as we speak. Just keeps on going here. 9-1 now.
Wow, I know the Rangers definitely have the offense to turn that around, but that's the kind of pitching that the Rangers have shown you that kind of make me wonder what they'll do in the postseason.
And no Max Scherzer, no Jacob deGrom
Right.
for them. They won't have them.
No, and it's besides Aroldis Chapman on the back end side of it, there's not much relief coming the other way.
And not a lot. So low ball for Kirby, 1-2 is the count. Since we're looking through the Texas Rangers and their pitching, their best pitcher this season has been Dwayne Dunning.
Yeah. It doesn't give you much confidence.
Whoa, nice catch there by Josh Rojas. And that gets Kyle Tucker out. That was a fast bullet headed towards Rojas' direction, and Rojas took it like a man.
That's a good call by you. That was hit right on the screws, and that's some beautiful defense there for Rojas.
We saw that one with a Hawkeye. Up is Abreu now as the second batter for the Astros. He bats with his right hand, and this one right on the line at the bottom, 0-1.
Alec, those are some perfect off-speed pitches over the last couple for Kirby. Those are dotted.
Yeah, right on the money, no matter which way you look at it. The 0-1 pitch, Kirby has just pitched his 50th ball, swing to the left, right toward J.P. Crawford, and then throw to Ty France. And the Astros down to their last out of the fourth.
Is Kirby getting in the zone here a little bit? I'll have to wait and see, but that looked pretty confident.
Yeah, he looks more and more comfortable as this game is going forward. We talked about the Mariners pitching staff, no matter if it is the starters or the relief guys. They look very sharp. 51 pitches thus far for Seattle as he gets set for this next one. Yainer Diaz up to bat here, and Diaz just stared at it as this ball was going to bottom center, 0-1.
Yeah, I mean, he could have put that down the second base or shortstop line, but that probably would have been an automatic out.
Would have been. You need to take a chance on those swings. This time around, it's up, and this one fouled out on the way to the right side, right nearby the brick wall.
Yainer Diaz, another one of those pieces for the Houston Astros. I'll be honest, I don't know too much about, but it's another one that has a ton of production.
A ton of it. Of course. 0-2 is the count now. Kirby on pitch number 54. And just outside the line, I thought this was going to be a strikeout here. But the fans don't like it. It was just right on the line. That's the call.
Yeah, Cal Raleigh wouldn't have had to move that glove too much anyway. He didn't need to sell it. That was almost right on the black.
Yeah, almost right on there. Could have easily been a strike, but they decided to call it a ball. So it's 1-2 to count on Diaz. And 55th pitch here. Swing and a miss. And that ends the top of the fourth.
That was straight filth, Alec. That's a curveball high. but he was able to get them right out in front of it, and gorgeous pitching there for Kirby. That was a confident top four.
Yeah, he's settling into that confidence as this game goes along here, as has been the case for many of these Mariners pitchers. Well, Luis Castillo yesterday, it seemed everything was going well for him early on, but the Astros made him uncomfortable as the game progressed there. 5 earned runs in game 1 of this series.
Yeah, and again, we know from when we talk about, because we covered a couple games with Castillo in there, he can absolutely touch 100, and he's got a ton of other pitches as well. So, Astros, again, I know the Mariners from where they are, as we talk about the record, but if the Astros want to win these games, they have to get through the Mariners pitching staff.
And they have to. These wins are earned, not given.
Yes, they are.
Every game in the MLB, all these 2,000 plus games of them.
All the way across the board, there's 162 for each campaign and thousands across. As you've said, it's a long season, and we're finally getting to the final week of it, so it'll be a good job for us to get in a couple of warm-ups here before we get into the postseason next week. As again, when the schedule comes out, I imagine it's going to start on Tuesday. I will lock in on a series unless we get some type of rain delay. But I'll try to cover, both games, or if we get to the third and deciding game, I'll do that for a series. Those are probably in toward midday, but we'll see what series it ends up being. Because if it is the Rangers and the Astros at that point, I might have to cover the Texas series in the Battle of Texas, because I think that might be too good to pass up.
Oh, I would love to cover a series on the Battle of Texas in the playoffs. That would be peak MLB playoff baseball.
Yeah, I think we would have to keep the cough drops ready because there's going to be a lot of runs scored.
There would be a lot of them. Offensive fireworks left and right. The young guys with Texas. And we could see a year in which all 4 North American professional sports teams based in the DFW Metroplex make the playoffs in 2023-2024 between the Rangers, Cowboys, Stars, and Mavericks. So we're here, bottom of the 4th, and batting first is Jared Kelenic. Oh, this took a wacky deflection of the shortstop, and Kelenic is able to get to first base. That was a wacky sequence of events. Yeah, Pena had that one bounce off him, and that's a base hit.
So Bregman tried to get down to a knee, play this with a glove. It just bounced off the top of his glove and went into the middle of the infield. But they're going to give that an error to Bregman here, and Kelenic's at first.
I mean, just in and out of the glove of Bregman. I feel that he knew the direction in which Kelenic is going towards between second and third. Had the right idea, but second error for the Astros.
Yeah, and again, the one with Altuve after the throw from Tucker was incredibly critical, led to 2 runs scoring for the Mariners, and now you got Eugenio Suarez at the dish with a runner at first.
Now you come to this point here, where the Astros are now at a point of defending. They're 0-1. Suarez is 0-1 on the count. Javier coming with pitch number 64. Bottom of the 4th here, Mariners leading, and Javier will use one of his 2 disengagements, going to Abreu, trying to get Kelenic out, was unsuccessful.
So Kelenic 13 for 18 as far as stolen bases this season. That was our first throw-over period in this game.
Minding that. The throw from Javier. And, well, this is close to call. They're going to give the ball. It looked for a moment as if Suarez got just enough, but backtracked in time, 1-1.
Yeah, he thought about swinging at the fastball high, was able to lay off with it.
Yeah, perfect fastball there. And so fast to swing at, you can imagine that Andres Munoz will be impressed. This one way outside the strike zone, bottom left, 2-1.
Yeah, if the scoreline's going to stay the same, we'll probably see Munoz, and he can hit triple digits.
All right, meanwhile in L.A., the Rangers are now batting there at the top of the 6th with 1 out. They trail 9 runs to 1. And they'll need a Pittsburgh Pirates-like comeback to
If there's anyone that can do it, it is the Rangers offense.
It certainly is, for sure. They've been so explosive throughout the season. So the 3-1 pitch coming right up from Javier. He's taking his time here, and this one, a high ball, and this is going to be spotted. They're chasing right after. This will be fielded by Kyle Tucker. First out here of the fourth inning. Almost said second, but because I was looking at the score, but it's the fourth inning. The Mariners lead 2-0.
I don't mean to make a joke here, but Kyle Tucker had to run a long way to get to that baseball when it was going to seem like Altuve could have got there easily. But considering what Altuve did earlier, Tucker just said, "Let me take this."
It seemed like that. It seemed as if that mentality of I got things settled.
Yeah.
It was like I got it. Then Tucker said, "No, I got it. I'll take care of things here." So now their next guy up is Mike Ford, being the third batter here after Kalanick and Suarez took their turns. A swing and a miss here as this was going at the bottom line, 0-1. So Ford 1-for-1. He did have that run earlier on that hit. So if the Mariners need to get going here, they'll certainly use this production. And here goes Suarez as he's going, and this ball spotted. Oh my goodness, what a catch by Tucker. He's done it again, but Suarez now at second base.
He's going to get doubled off here, Alec, because that was a great catch by Kyle Tucker. They throw it over, and that does end the fourth.
Oh, yeah, that underhanded catch by Kyle Tucker. He can catch those balls any which way, acrobatic style. That time he was diving and had that one right. It caught as it was coming down from the air, never touched the ground.
No, again, he's been the defensive man here in this game so far. And again, that speaks to the play that we just talked about with Altuve. It could have been an easy one, but Tucker just ran from deep right field to go ahead and catch the previous. Then he makes a diving play off of the knee to save that one there. And this will take us now onto the next part of the inning here. So the Mariners have a 2-0 lead heading into the fifth. It's been a briskly paced game here, Alec. It's been a lot of fun so far. Just 2 hits, 2 errors for the Astros, 2 runs, 2 hits for the Mariners, no errors on that end. Again, it's too early to call who's going to win this game, but the Mariners were able to get out of danger. The Astros could not do the same, and that's been the story of the game so far.
We mentioned Christian Javier earlier in this game, how he's going to recover from that third inning. He recovered good enough in this fourth inning. He might have earned himself another inning of pitching here in this game.
I think that might be fair to say, Alec, but I would say, considering where he is in the pitch count, I think 5 might be his maximum. We'll see what Dusty Baker does, but I feel like 5 might be the end of the night.
I'll put it at that. 5 may be enough because it's not like one of those nights you can give a Justin Verlander vintage night. He pitched for 8 innings and shut out the Mariners in all 8 of them. It's impressive to see for the old guard, 40 years old.
Yeah, you can't say that Justin Verlander can't be that guy anymore, considering I've seen it for so many years. And even the first go-around for the Astros when he won the World Series, he was still about 36. So he's gone through a ton of Tommy Johns, a ton of injuries here, especially from Detroit going over to Houston. Now he's been healthy. That arm's been rebuilt a couple times with all the surgery that's been done. So we'll see how much longer he can go. Chas McCormick now. That is a gorgeous fastball by Kirby, right on the inside black. Make it 0-1.
Right down through bottom right corner as well. Amazing spiral there from George Kirby. In the meantime, the Rangers are using 4 substitutions. Josh Smith, Ezekiel Duran, Travis Jankowski, and Austin Hedges in for the Rangers now.
I wonder if that means that they're just surrendering at this point.
Who knows? Because they're down 9-1. They certainly need a momentum boost.
Yeah, I mean, all those guys can hit. I won't disagree with that. I just wonder if you're down 9-1, you're going to take a little bit of a break and get rested for the next game because it'll be just as important. And if the Rangers drop another game to the Angels, as we talk about, that's really going to crowd the AL West, as if the Seattle and Houston doesn't have enough playoff implications. Make it 1-2 now as McCormick takes the privilege of the ball. 278, 22 bombs, and 70 RBIs. He's waiting on the 1-2 pitch. Kirby about to throw pitch number 59. As this is a fastball in on the hands, this should be easy for Suarez. Nice toss over to France. 1 up, 1 down.
This was bouncing and bouncing over, and Suarez made sure to get McCormick out. Been an eerie refrain on bats going over to Suarez, time in and time out. 3 times has it happened already, including that fast bat right in Suarez's direction.
Yeah, Kirby's just able to put this ball in play, and it's just weak contact in between the short field, third base side, and as you said, for Suarez, third time at the third base side. But again, it doesn't get any easier. Jeremy Pena. This one would have been a strike anyway, but he follows it down the right field line, make it 0-1.
Yeah, would have happened a 4th time if it stayed right inside and got to Suarez. He would if this was staying in, Suarez would have ran down there and threw immediately to tie France.
Jeremy Pena is one of those guys that can get the job done everywhere across the board. His numbers last year a little bit better, but again, 260, 10 bombs, 51 RBI. He can steal you some bases. He's got 41 walks, but 127 strikeouts. He's a little bit more prone to the strikeout this year. The playoff run last year for Jeremy Pena was nothing short of spectacular. He played like one of the best players in all of baseball. This one is not going to split the gap, but it'll be played by Teoscar and Hop, and Pena's on the board first.
Well, he got up easy on that foul ball in the second swing, that one was going down through the left side, fitting the gap between first and second, and took that bounce. You have to be able to get it high enough, but not too high if you want to have it played on the infield, and that time he did.
Yeah, you just pretty much got to hit it where the infielders aren't. Sometimes it's as simple as that. Again, we talked about it with Martin Maldonado for the 36-year-old. About a 193 average. The Mendoza line's 200. He does got 14 bombs, though. So you want to make sure that you don't throw this dead red down the middle of the strike zone because he can take you deep. But this should be somebody that Kirby is able to get out. You don't want to pitcher on Maldonado, and there really isn't any easy outs in the Astros lineup, but Maldonado's got to be one you got to get.
Exactly, considering even though he doesn't have the pitching numbers like the rest of these teams, and when he connects, he can be able to take some things down for the wire.
Yeah, he can take it deep, no doubt about it. Another person on deck that can take it deep is Jose Altuve. He's going to be due up next.
So an even tougher challenge, no matter what happens for the Mariners. So Altuve he's been thrown out at home before, even though he got a run at base. Yeah, but then again, the Mariners, they're well battle tested for these moments, and that time Maldonado deferred and took his bat right back.
Fastball is a little bit too high, about 6 inches off the plate. Here we'll do it again at 2-1. Kirby about to throw pitch number 66. There goes the runner. Swing and a miss. Here's a throw over. Do they get the tag down? And Pena's out at second.
Oh, perfect play there by Cal Raleigh and the tag by Josh Rojas. And that enlightens the fans here at T-Mobile Park. So instead of needing 2 outs, they now need just 1.
That was a good job there by Raleigh because he had to catch and fire. The ball was way high. He threw a dot, and as you said, great job by Josh Rojas. Pena trying to slide to avoid it, but he couldn't put his hand in the bag. And now Maldonado is going to deal with the bases empty, still 2-2. But Cal Raleigh, that's his 24th base stealer thrown out. That's pretty good behind the dish.
Love what you see here from the North Carolina product, even though he's not from Raleigh, North Carolina. He's from Kauai, by the way. Cal Raleigh, being from North Carolina, I love seeing that because kind of fits the name of North Carolina. If you ask me, being a North Carolinian, Honorary Pittsburgh.
98 miles an hour there from Kirby is fouled back in pitch number 67. So if Maldonado doesn't reach, it'll be Altuve, Bregman, and Alvarez once it's time for Alec to flip back over to that side when we get to the sixth. So again, it'll be the third time through the order, and a swing and a miss. Go grab some pine, Mr. Maldonado. Kirby does the job again behind some brilliant defense from Rojas and Raleigh. It's 2-0 heading into the bottom of the fifth.
I wonder what Jose Altuve is thinking now that the stolen bases was
Right.
followed by from Jeremy Pena, because now he's not going to get his chance until the sixth inning.
Yeah, you have a chance with a runner in scoring position who at worst, Alec, let's say he doesn't steal the base. He's at first, and Pena's got speed where if Altuve hit the ball in the gap, he could probably score a run. So, yeah, you have to make sure that when you go ahead and try to get a steal, I know it goes without saying that you got to be safe and smart about it, but when you have somebody like Altuve, Bregman, and Alvarez, maybe you don't take those chances.
You cannot. I know the Royals did exactly that several days back in striking out that loaded core among the three that they struck out. They got out, and they managed to get them out and hand them their fifth loss in that 6-game regular season series.
Yeah.
Which you think, when you look at it and where they're at in the standings, you ask yourself, how in the world did this happen?
I agree with you. I mean, again, you're in the back end of the season here, and you get the Royals for 6 games. You would think instead of going 1-5 that you'd go 5-1.
Yeah, or actually 4-2, because the Royals won 2 of 3 in the previous series.
Yeah.
But then instead of 4-2, you go 1-5 against them with that series sweep. And I'm starting to think, what is this madness?
It is, and you're at
Sparta!
you're at a point in the game, in the point of the season where you can't afford to drop those games, and then that makes this series that we're doing today a hell of a lot more important when it probably didn't need to be. So again, I know it's at a point in the schedule from where you start in April and you end in October. Losses, no matter where they come from, they mean just as much. So we'll see now what happens between teams like Texas, who is getting stomped on by the Angels, and then the Astros. Now they're down 2-0 to the Mariners, who are just coming off of a loss last night from a vintage Justin Verlander performance, and then getting swept by Texas. So 2 teams that we're broadcasting now are going in the wrong direction, but they need to get a win just the same.
Yeah, and I'm providing live updates from the Rangers-Angels game. So still the same score. The Angels leading 9-1, it appears. The Rangers, they're getting nothing here ever since their first run in the first inning. Just a bunch of nothing ever since the Grossman double play.
That is absolutely unbelievable on that side. Christian Javier is back out there. He's going to throw his 70th pitch here as we're going to go back in toward the bottom of the order again. 8-9-1, France, Rojas, and J.P. Crawford. In the bottom of the fifth, the Mariners have a 2-0 lead. The latest run was a Julio Rodriguez sacrifice fly there for Ty France, and a throwing error for Jose Altuve gave the Mariners an extra run. Ty France will sky this one, but directly back fall, make it 0-2.
So when we speak back onto the throwing error by Altuve, we're looking at about Altuve. The throw was perfect. Bregman, he was in the midst of 2 mistakes there. When he flubbed that catch, and the second one went in and out of his glove. That was the main catalyst for the Mariners getting those 2 runs.
Yeah, it was, because the Tucker catch was brilliant. He made a good throw in, and after that was just complete insanity that ensued following. But the Mariners will take the extra run. Again, they were a little bit snake bitten last night when they were shut down by Verlander, but again, he can do that to anybody. As Ty France able to follow it back again, it's still 1-2.
Yeah, Verlander's one of those guys who can have a very long prime of his career. Even at 40, he seems to be holding up very, very well.
Yeah, it's crazy. Again, I never really got to watch Nolan Ryan because even I'm a little bit too young for that side of it. But He's one of those guys with a golden arm, and Ty France going to go take a seat here. He offered it a curveball way out of the zone.
Well, that was a bad time to take a chance there, as this was way out of the zone. But the risk, he was looking for that. He was trying to risk it and trying to attempt that curveball out of that zone. But still, this game goes on, and no home runs to show for it.
So sometimes when we talk about baseball, we talk about flashy defensive plays, and then the guy that comes up and makes the play is the guy that gets a big hit. We'll see if Josh Rojas can do it. He's the one that got the tag down on Pena from the throw there on the other side from Cal Raleigh. So we'll see if he can come through. The first pitch was way up high near his dome, and now it's 1-0. We'll see what he can do here for Javier's 76 pitch, as this one is a fastball down the middle, but he swung late and shakes his head, make it 1-1.
But that first pitch, he had to avoid that one as it was going right up towards his jaw. Well, that could have been very dangerous.
Javier lets the pitch clock go down here, and we'll see 93. This one splits the plate, and for back-to-back times, Rojas a little bit late.
Oh, I know he took a chance at that. It's a little late on those swings. Gotta time it better. Gotta time it a little earlier than that if you're Josh Rojas.
Yeah, if you're Josh here, maybe just take a little bit off the uppercut and try to make contact. It seems like he was going for the downs on those two pitches, but I mean, they were mistake pitches that he couldn't take advantage of. We'll see what happens here on the 1-2. Is this a fastball? Ooh, just misses the black. I thought Javier might get the call, but it looks like Rojas still alive here at 2-2.
Yeah, I saw some part of the ball that's going right down for the line as well. I thought he would get the call there, but apparently not.
Now, it was close enough, and Rojas, this one nowhere near, is going to make it a full count.
Yeah, just got the feed right now. This one way low. It hit the dirt.
J.P. Crawford will be due up next, as we'll go back the third time through the order here for both these teams. Our bottom five, Mariners up 2-0. Rojas. He's going to serve this one left field line. This is going to drop in front of Yordan Alvarez, and he's got a solid single. He might have been due from saving himself from a strikeout, but good on him. He stayed alive, and he's on base.
Very good for Josh Rojas, taking that bullet to strike out one of the Astros earlier in this game, and this time he lined up a bullet to left field right at Alvarez's direction. Had to make sure that it bounced right before it got to Alvarez. And that was the case here, a base hit for Seattle.
So J.P. Crawford in this game so far, 0 for 1 with a walk as he gets set to dig in. Fastball high. Again, Rojas, he's got a solid single in the left field from Yordan Alvarez. As J.P. is going to try to make something happen here, Julio Rodriguez is on deck unless there's a double play hit here right now. J.P.'s got the dreads flowing right now. Looks quite good. He tries to offer at a bunt. Here's a stolen base attempt for Rojas, and Pena can't corral it. So now Rojas in at second.
Oh, another error by the Astros. The third one of the night there, and Pena, he was trying to go right after Josh Rojas, and Rojas using that speed, able to get there on time. It's like he's running the 100-meter at track and field. Like he's running at the Olympics, like he's going up against Tyreek Hill.
That's a great job for Root Sports to bring into this point from when we just talked about his speed. He's now 12 for 12 with stolen bases this season. So when he picks his spot, he's able to get it. And you know what? That Maldonado and Pena combination there, that was nowhere close. And it looked like Rojas already had like 7 steps towards second.
You know, it seemed like that as well. And as he was taking up, when the crazy guy Javier got the pitch up, and as he was throwing down, made sure to take a run for it and take a chance.
So 2-2 now. All of a sudden, Rojas in at second. Old J.P. Crawford really needs a solid single. This might score another critical run for the Mariners. At least keeps them out of the double play situation. And now a disengagement's going to be used, so we'll have to wait. Again, the bullpen continues to warm. Montero is now on the bullpen here for Houston on that side.
So a little bit of an update. He's not Javier were to be pulled at some point. Rafael Montero is warming up.
Fastball way high, and Maldonado takes a long look at Christian Javier here because they know who's on deck right now. It's Julio Rodriguez.
The explosive 22-year-old who has had an explosive run through July and August. I would love that he could get something, even a home run here. He's had 31 of those, which paces the team.
Crawford goes after the fastball. That would have been a walk. And now Julio Rodriguez will have to try to make something happen with the runner at second.
And you made a mistake on Crawford's part because that one was high and there for the taking. He thought this was going up in the strike zone, and yeah, that mental aspect. It's hard to tell if this is going inside the strike zone or if it's outside the strike zone. This time he guessed it was going outside, inside. He guessed wrong.
Yes, he did. And we knew off that first pitch there as J-Rod shakes his head. Alec, we knew exactly what he was going for there.
Yeah, that low ball as it was going bottom right that time. He had a sacrifice fly earlier. He's going for the jug. He wants to go for the jugular and get a home run.
0-1 now against J-Rod, and this is a splitter, a little bit low. Make it 1-1. Again, 282, 31 bombs, 102 RBI. That month and a half stretch there for Julio Rodriguez. I mean, he had about 15 hits in 3 games. You just couldn't get this guy out. Power, speed combination. You talk about Ronald Acuna in the National League, you're looking at the American League version.
The young, up-and-coming version of Ronald Acuna Jr. So I like the comparison. Oh, man, this might have went in and out the glove.
2-1. The count swells. J-Rod's really got to dig in here. Again, you can understate how important the run's going to be because Kirby's been so dominant, but you never know. You want to make sure you add on whenever you can. Rojas did a great job stealing that base. 2-1. Over the head of Rodriguez. Make it 3-1.
Oh, went over the head. He was able to duck there because a hit to the head there would have been a blow there if he got hit there. But at the same time, if he didn't feel that, he would automatically go to first.
So they walk him anyway. Julio Rodriguez got busted inside with a fastball, and that's going to leave it up to Cal Raleigh. We've talked about it. We know that he can hit some memorable home runs. I mean, hey, we're getting close to October. That's when the postseason's supposed to happen. And no surprise here, Dusty Baker coming out. I think he's going to go ahead and put in Rafael Montero at this point. 91 pitches, 2 outs, runners on first and second. They cannot allow this to balloon any further.
I mean, you can feel the game starting to slip towards the Mariners' favor. It seems that way for the past 3 innings, dating back to the 3rd inning when they got those 2 runs, starting with that sacrifice fly by Julio Rodriguez. Pitch by pitch, we're looking at Rodriguez that read every one of Christian Javier's pitches, and he guessed correctly where each one of them was going. So smart, and now Javier's night is done.
I can say this. If the Astros do get through it, even though it's only about 5 innings, you only got 4 2/3, I guess you'd take it if he only gives up 2 runs. But again, just me personally, I would have liked to have seen Javier just a little bit sharper, knowing going into the postseason next week, considering what the Astros could have. That's all I'm saying there. But all this brings up now is going to be Rafael Montero with Cal Raleigh due up with runners at the pond here. We got a couple of them for the Mariners. It's already a 2-0 lead. If Cal Raleigh does get a big shot here, maybe give the Mariners a couple more runs, this could be enough considering how well Kirby is pitching so far.
For sure. We've known about memorable home runs, the iconic Dave Sims call, the play-by-play announcer for the Mariners on Root Sports Northwest. He chose Rodriguez on home runs by just 1, 30-31 on that end. These two pacing the team on that category, and he's very well tested for these moments.
Yeah, for Cal Raleigh, as we said, you got 53 walks. You do have 163 strikeouts, but 30 bombs, 74 RBI. He will take his walk. He's got defense. He's got power. He's shown you a little bit of that. And he can also throw runners out, as he did with Jeremy Pena on that side. So he's had a good game right now. If he comes through, this could essentially be an early kill shot opportunity for the Mariners in a game that both teams desperately need going into this.
So basically, the shot right back for Seattle after they went down 5-0 in the previous game, a chance to go up 5-0 this time around. So whatever I can do, I can also do that.
Yeah, what goes around comes around. That's exactly and rightly said there. We'll see if Seattle can come through with it. You'd think they'd want to get at least one of these, especially I go back to the Josh Rojas base hit and stolen base opportunity. So again, we got in the mix of between the TBS. I'm on the Root Sports side of it. Rafael Montero, he's got a 4.88 ERA with a 2.68 opponent average, 28 walks, 78 strikeouts, and 66 innings pitched. So his numbers out of the bullpen aren't as solid as they are last year. He can throw some splitters. He does have a fastball. We'll see what Raleigh's looking to do here on the first pitch. And this is 95 way inside, make it 1-0.
Oh, the way between Raleigh and the strike zone. I mean, that was so close to hitting him. I mean, so close.
Yeah, you can't do that right now, especially with Teoscar Hernandez. He'd have an opportunity with the bases loaded if that were the situation, as this is way low, and this is a great block for Maldonado to keep the runners right at first and second.
Oh, a bright spot for the Astros here as we go on. They have not allowed a run in 12 innings for the bullpen.
Yeah, they got to make sure that they absolutely lock down. Again, when you have Maytom, when you have Presley and some of the other arms, Hector Neris, they can definitely get the job done. But Montero, right out of the bullpen here for Dusty Baker, has thrown 3 straight balls.
And looking like the opposite of what Dusty Baker was looking for when Montero was put in. They indeed do have other options, as you mentioned. Phil Maton, as is the case, the closer Ryan Presley as well.
Raleigh broke his bat. Looper's gonna drop. This is gonna score a run for the Mariners. Throw to third, and it's safe. So the Mariners now up 3-0. And if this goes on a play again, which I believe it did, it's now 4-0. Unbelievable. Another forced error.
And again involving Alec Bregman, the same guy who was responsible for the last 2 Mariners runs batted in. Oh, everything is unfolding here. Everyone on their feet. Everyone is loving this. Cooper must be smiling somewhere now. I gotta show you there. Cal Raleigh does have a bat and an eye.
That one was inside. He forced it down the right field line, and the slide there from Rodriguez, it looks like Bregman took his eye off the ball. And I'll tell you this, I think Tucker played the ball right both times, but Bregman, man, he's going to have to take some extra fielding practice as far as I'm concerned.
And even the Stars, they're not immune to any night like this for them. Mostly when you expect something from the Stars, you expect something of their usual showing. But for Bregman, it's much of the opposite.
Yeah.
Tucker seems to be doing everything right for them.
Yeah, in between Altuve and Bregman, they've just not done a good job of bailing out Kyle Tucker, who's made some great plays. As now it's Teoscar Hernandez with a runner in at third. The Mariners have scored 4, and if we're being completely honest with you and on the broadcast, it's 2 errors that have brought in 2 extra runs. This should be a 2-0 game.
Could have easily been 4 errors, but they're not deciding to put those in.
So it's Teoscar Hernandez waiting on the 1-1. Past the diving Bregman. Mariners score. It's 5-0.
Just what have we said? What comes around goes around. And that is exactly what the Mariners are saying to the Astros here. And everyone here at the Mariners dugout is all smiles, including the manager, Scott Cervais, who Astros patting Cal Raleigh in the back saying, I'm proud of you. I'm really proud of you. As he squeezed right through Bregman's glove. I mean, just right through him. You could not have had it any closer than that.
No, from what we just talked about, it was an opportunity for Bregman to be able to make a play. That one was going to be understandably tough, but that was a rocket from Teoscar there. And again, Christian Javier, he's due with all these runs up against him here. So Javier's got 5 runs against him here right now. And the Mariners with Jared Kelenic, he's going to try to put even more of a crooked number on, as the Mariners have already answered a couple more times. Fastball way outside the zone. And Montero has not been sharp at all.
He hasn't looked like his usual self. Not what Dusty Baker's been looking for. I've said it before, I'll say it again. So if this keeps going here for Montero, we could see a different Astros pitcher by the 6th inning.
Yeah, you might have another pitcher to be able to call here. And again, whatever Seattle's doing for tomorrow's game, they've got to be able to channel this same type of energy, as tough as it is to do. Again, you got punched in the face by Verlander just the other day. Now you're returning the medicine. Kelenic is going to put this into center field. It's going to be cut off by McCormick, and it's going to get Teoscar to third. Runners on first and third now.
It's raining cats, dogs, and bases loading here throughout this match in favor of the Mariners. Ever since the Astros' first inning, which ended with bark, but the bite just came up short, and the Mariners responding with bark and bite, both of them coming at the same time, and they're really executing here. A deep ball just right towards Chas McCormick's direction, bounced many yards right in front of him. A high ball over everyone. As we're saying here, it's these types of plays, the little things that can get a team running here as we get a pitcher's mound here between everyone. So we saw Jose Abreu, the disengagement was used there, and we're seeing, I believe, 62. That is 62.
Looks like Souza is going to be warming up here for the Astros. Honestly, I'm not familiar with him, to be honest with you, from what the names I normally see. So we'll see if he does come in here, because Montero's got to get through the 3-batter minimum here. This would be his last opportunity if they want to go ahead and pull. But the fact that he wouldn't be able to get any outs here on this side is going to not bode well for Montero, because he's one of those pieces. Again, 4.61 ERA coming into this. He's going to get north of the 5 side by the time that this is done, because Eugenio Suarez, even though he's 0 for 2, he could easily make this an 8-0 game at this point if he finds a pitch he likes.
Easily, especially when you look at the type of space that he can get, left field, right field, wherever it goes, wherever it can take. Eugenio Suarez, especially known for these moments, 1-1 pitch.
He takes that one a little low. He's trying to work his way back in the count. Montero, 13 pitches into his day. He is just throwing salvos for the Mariners to detonate all over the field right now. This is a fastball in, and they did not. He says he didn't go. I almost thought they were going to call that a strike. That would have been criminal, but it's 2-1.
Oh, they're looking at the discussions there, and the umpires are saying ball. They're signaling the ball. So 2-1. So they were discussing about Suarez's swing. Is that he did not get it all the way safe.
2-1. Fastball a little high. And this is an opportunity here to load the bases for the Mariners. Mike Ford, he's already got a hit in this game right now from the fielding error from Altuve that followed after. He's playing DH. He's normally a middle infielder. I'll be due up next. Suarez can get a little nasty on this 3-1 count. I think if he likes it, he should let it go. He does. Follow it down the right field line, and now it's a full count.
Well, still a great opportunity to get the bases loaded. So Suarez can hang his head high, knowing that there's a runner on third and first.
Everybody's standing right now. Again, the Mariners are already up 5, but you know you want more because the Astros, it's a blood rival type team, and Suarez does his job. He loads the bases on a walk, and it'll leave it up to Mike Ford. And Dusty Baker is going to go ahead and get Rafael Montero. He didn't do the job. He didn't get it out.
I mean, Rafael Montero did not look like himself in that sequence. He definitely did not dare. Because a lot of pitches, they were wild and out of the strike zone, what we saw from those sequences. Pitch in and pitch out. He did not last the rest of this inning. And necessary change here to get some momentum back towards their favor. They need this desperately.
Again, it's one of the situations, too, when these guys play tomorrow, the more that you can wear out the Astros bullpen is going to play key for the Mariners tomorrow. Again, we cannot forget about those types of things, especially late in the year. So if there is not a long outing for Framber Valdez tomorrow, and they got to get back into that bullpen, that should spell success for the Mariners.
It should. That lengthy bullpen, no matter who they pull out there, no matter if it is one of the relief pitchers, as we mentioned, it's been loaded. Whatever they have there, it turns into an absolute gem. Look at Luis Castillo. Look at George Kirby. Look at Logan Gilbert. Everyone there, gems.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, as we talk about here for Kirby, he's got 5 scoreless, and the Mariners are also doing the job. They had 2 in the third and 3 in the fifth. And you spot Kirby a 5 from where he's pitching right now. You might think you can get at least 6 or 7 out of Kirby, turn it over to that nasty bullpen, and it feels like this game is out of reach for Houston. I know what their offense can do, but again, we've hit the punch button from the very beginning of this broadcast. Seattle's pitching, regardless of whether or not they get into the postseason, is something going forward for the next few seasons that you can plug in whoever you want. You just don't have to worry about them.
Absolutely there, John. So whoever they get out there onto the mound, if the Mariners do reach the playoffs, they can look back at potentially this game and the next one. If they do win it against the Astros, they can look back at this series as a talking point on why they reached the playoffs.
Yeah, again, you have a strength going forward, as we said, with the pitching staff, and I think that that's going to work well. I am just curious because Bennett Sousa is going to be taking the mound here for the Astros, so it looks like the former Cincinnati Red. They must have picked him up from the deadline. He's 28 years old. He's one a lefty. They don't have a lot of lefties there for Houston. They're almost all righties. So far, his numbers on the year, if I'm looking at his pitching, it is just 3 games so far. He has not looked like he's given up a run here for Houston, but he's also pitched him for Milwaukee, where it was an ERA of 13.50, and the White Sox last year at 8.41. So he's only just started here for Houston, but his numbers in grand totality are not very good.
You're putting in Dylan Moore as a placeholder here for the Mariners. They made a substitution.
So thank you for that. I'll have to mark that in on the scorecard side of it. So for Mike Ford, he's the one being replaced for Dylan Moore. They do say that he does have 1 grand slam July 26, 2021 off Brooks Raley. Don't know if Root Sports is hinting at that, but it's an 0-2 count. This is a fastball high.
Bennett Sousa already looks like he is sharp and on the money with his throws with those first 2 pitches, even though that last one's high. He's looking on the money there so far.
And that is a gorgeous slider. And it makes you wonder now if Dusty Baker, again, I'm not saying anything because he's a great manager and they won a World Series and he's an all-around great guy. But you kind of wish maybe you brought in Sousa instead of Montero.
And you kind of wonder at this point, even though it's a small sample size, Dusty Baker has to be wondering, what if we brought out Sousa before Montero? That way Montero would have more time getting warmed up. Remember, the original plan was to have Phil Maton after Christian Javier. They changed that up, perhaps a last-minute decision by Dusty Baker, and they went with Montero. And it didn't work out.
I think that's a great call by you because I almost half forgot about that one, considering the Mariners were putting up runs. But you're right. Maybe it was a simple issue for Montero that had to get warm quickly. They thought that they could use him with the ducks on the pond and he can get through most of the traffic. He did not. So on the other end, let's just see it. I'm looking through the ESPN side of the box score. Christian Javier's final line: 4 2/3, three hits, 3 earned runs, 6 strikeouts, ERA of 4.67. And Montero, his line, he didn't even get through a batter. He's got no innings pitched on that side because he couldn't get any outs. 3 hits, 1 earned run. So that's about as ugly as it gets.
It 1 run and 1 walk, not a single strikeout, and an ERA of 5.02. Just, and you see as someone that doesn't get through an entire inning, let alone a third of an inning, you know that night is forgetful for them.
Yeah, that's something that Montero is going to have to absolutely flush. And I do wonder, again, he didn't throw a lot of pitches because he was just getting dominated pretty much. But if they need to use Montero tomorrow, he better have that mental reset because these games between the Mariners and the Astros are important. And again, for us, from the Verlander side of it yesterday, you look at what Seattle's doing right now, and in particular, George Kirby, as you're going to be taking the 6 here. I'm incredibly impressed.
Oh, yeah, I'm very impressed with what the Mariners are putting up here. This season, they have been having the Astros number, and it's continuing to show right now. This is their 12th game against each other. If the Mariners hold this up, that'll be an improvement to 9-3 on the season against Houston.
Yeah, it's about as good as it gets.
So we're looking at the NL postseason picture. The Phillies are the first team to get a wild card spot locked up. Their division is taken by the Atlanta Braves. We are back in a swing and a miss as it kind of hit Jose Altuve. We're not sure what the verdict is. They'll give him the strike. They're not going to have him go to first base.
I think he might have fouled that one off himself. Admittedly, I got a little bit late look to that. But when you got Altuve, Bregman, and Alvarez, third time through the order, Astros down 5. Big boy's got to get it going.
Yeah, it went off his bat and then off his lower leg. So they're going to count this as a foul ball. And boy, that looked painful. So 0-1 is the pitch. The boo's raining down here at T-Mobile Park. George Kirby on pitch number 71. And this one flying over to left center. And that'll get Altuve at first.
That's a pitch there, Alec. Again, I know that the Mariners are up 5, but that looked like a lollipop curveball right down the middle. And I think maybe he's only fortunate that Altuve is only sitting at first and not rounding the bases.
And they must be smiling at that, Dusty Baker and company. Now, Alex Bregman, who missed 3 catches earlier on the night, he's now at bat for the Astros here, looking to get some runs here on the scoreboard. This one flying over to right field. Will this go? Oh, this bounces off the wall, and there are going to be runners still going here at second and third. Oh, never mind, that's the catch. I thought the Astros were going to get some runs going. I thought so, but Teoscar Hernandez caught it just before it hit the ball. Get the wall.
I wanted to make sure I didn't step over your call there, Alec, because that's a great job. That's a amazing catch by Teoscar Hernandez. He loses his lid as he crashes into the right field wall, and he absolutely robbed Alex Bregman of extra bases there. Wow.
Oh, even I got faked out. So now 1 out for the Astros. Altuve has to go back to first base, and Yordan Alvarez fouled to left side there, so no chance for the Astros this time around.
And Bregman on the other end, as we talk about his rough night, he put a really good swing on that ball. I'm sure he wanted that one badly.
Yeah, he definitely wanted this one. It looked like he had the distance going that far. High ball for George Kirby, 2-1 count there, but what a beautiful catch for Teoscar Hernandez. I can watch this one for days. So we're coming up to the 2-1 pitch So, and I'm just making it look so it's actually a 1-1 count. And this one on the way, Alvarez took a chance there, was going right through top center. Don't blame him for that. 1-2.
Looked like Kirby, honestly, Alec was just going for the challenge fastball, and Alvarez a little bit late on it.
He was a little late. Look, he timed this one correctly this time. A strikeout ends his run here. Pitch number 76. Foul ball. Going to the left side, so we'll do this over again.
Kyle Tucker, he's had a nice game, all things considered. Although the Astros need runs, he'll be due up next.
And Kyle Tucker, he's looking at the iPad up on that ball, and he's shaking his head knowing, how did this not get through? And he was right between the wall and the glove there. Swing! And a miss. As it was going high, 97 mile an hour fastball. George Kirby has another one.
Alec, that is just a challenge fastball at its finest. Power on power there. And Kirby wins the matchup with about 5 inches outside the zone. Now he's got to deal with King Tuck.
Yeah, King Tuck. Nice little pun on King Tuck. Reconciliation, Egypt. Right down for the middle. Swing and a miss on King Tuck. George Kirby going through this dreamland. 0-1.
Yeah, we're going to get all the puns here. I'm always thinking about Kirby myself. 77 pitches into his day, man, as he looks sharp.
Make it 78 now as we're counting down the pitch clock. Gets it off with Bree, and this one is high, just above the strike zone. 1-1 now to count. And this crowd here getting louder as George Kirby set to get pitch number 80 on the board against perhaps the best Astro tonight, Kyle Tucker.
Yeah, that goes without saying for me here, Alec. Again, I understand what the scoreboard says. Whoa, what the heck? Did George Kirby get hit by something in the crowd?
I wonder, but it appeared, someone must have thrown something. Yeah, he got that now. Someone must have thrown a ball at him, and George Kirby saying, you look in the face saying, he's like, what just happened?
Somebody threw a ball on the field and it hit George Kirby.
Somebody just threw a ball here. Scott Cervais wants to know what's going on here. Maybe some fiasco coming on around the stands.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, it hit him right near his stomach.
Alec, that is the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. I'm glad that he's not hurt.
Yeah, I'm happy nothing else happened after that. I know the Mariners are protecting this 5-0 lead, but man, was this ever a bizarre sequence. One of the fans and said, sorry about that, and the man wearing a throwback Kelenic jersey is getting escorted out by security.
Yeah, no doubt about that, Alec. Whoever throws that out there, your night's done at that point.
Yeah, you can't continue on like that. That does not fly with the other fans around the area and not by security.
Wow, I cannot believe that.
Me neither, John. And now back into game action here. Now that we have that sequence sorted out, this one lighting over. Oh, this hits one of the guys there and little shaken up.
Looks like Josh Rojas tried to make a diving play for Tucker. He was able to get a piece of his glove on it, but he just ate grass. And now it's going to be runners at first and second.
Oh, they're shaking him up. Looks like that wrist. Yeah, that wrist. Josh Rojas. A little shaken up on that dive. And now runners at first and second here for Houston. They look to get their first run on the board. I wouldn't count it as an error, but kind of an unfortunate sequence for Josh Rojas.
Yeah, there really isn't anything you could do there. Tucker hit that in a perfect spot. Now we're going to have to see if Jose Abreu can come through because he had an opportunity in the first. He couldn't get it done. Matt Brash, the flamethrower, is warming up for Seattle and Scott Service in his bullpen. Kirby's been excellent right now, but again, they got to do the due diligence on Abreu because this could be Houston's last best opportunity in this game.
You gotta wonder there because you have 6 innings to get a run here, and unfortunately, you're not scoring on any one of them, especially have runners at first and second here. Jose Abreu up in the mound, up in the batter's stand. They try and twist that and get some runs here. Is George Kirby, pitch number 82, on its way, and this one flying to the foul area right side, 0-1.
I'm seeing from Kirby in this inning a lot more challenge pitches that are catching the fat part of the plate. He's got to be careful here.
Abreu can bring the fire when he's facing 2 outs as well. .394 batting average in these situations. Facing Kirby's 83rd pitch, and this one another foul ball. This will go right to the brick wall. 0-2.
That one wasn't on the hands. There's a good correction. So 394 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs is absolutely incredible right now. The Astros need Abreu to come through.
And badly as well. Even sweeter if this is a home run. So Kirby is surveying his options. Now throws it. This is going to the right side, and that'll do it for the Astros. So as you said, their best chance potentially gone here, as we could likely see Matt Brash to start the 7th.
Man, they just showed it on the Root Sports side. I hope you get a chance to look at it again. What a catch that was for Teoscar Hernandez.
Unbelievably beautiful. Like a work of art. You can get one of the best artists here to recreate that photo, namely someone from the Seattle area, and have this painted as the catalyst of the Mariners' potential playoff berth.
Yeah, I think he said that one perfectly on that side. And again, from the oops part of the season, it might be right after that, is a fan throwing a pitch right at George Kirby from the outfield. However much they spent for those tickets, their night is done.
Well, it's certainly not like what the pitchers, wherever it is on the Astros, but your night is done. You can't do that. I mean, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're doing nothing except stopping play. It's just, what are you doing there? What was the point?
No, Alec, honestly, I've watched a lot of baseball games. I'm sure you have through the years. I can't remember ever seeing something like that unless you're talking about beer cans being thrown on the field. Someone throwing a baseball in the middle of the field and actually striking one of the pitchers. I don't think I've ever seen that.
I mean, you've seen some instances of fans in hockey games throwing stuff onto the ice.
Yes.
Like those times. I remember in the last ever game at Nassau Coliseum, Islanders fans were throwing beer cans on the ice.
Yes.
That's dangerous. You
Yes.
can hurt one of the players.
Yes, you can. You had beer cans. I remember, what was it, last year too, for the Vancouver Canucks? Somebody threw gummy worms that were sticking out on the ice.
Yeah, that's disrespectful to the players, disrespectful to everyone involved there. The coaches, they're trying to get some business done down there.
Yeah.
And all they're doing is just interrupting stuff.
So we're going to see a little bit of everything here. Again, from what we know, the Astros were just turned away. And Souza's back on the mound here. See if he can keep the scoreline where it is for Houston.
And they need that if they want to have a chance at getting back into this game down 5-0. They need a comeback badly. We look at some of the errors from the Astros, and namely from Alec Bregman when we're looking at them. I know they're showing Jose Altuve and Kyle Tucker, but Bregman has been responsible for each one. The 3 errors on the night, that ties the season high in a single game.
Yeah, from what you talked about, and again, you hit the nail on the head, and between Altuve and Bregman especially, these are guys that you count on to be able to get the job done and play clean baseball. All things considered, the Astros have not played their finest game today.
It looked ugly like some of the lows here in the MLB. Ty France at bat, 0-1 count. He tries this one again, and this will be spotted by McCormick, and easily handled there.
Ooh, Ty France a little bit upset with himself, thinking he just hit a home run. He slammed his helmet against the bench.
He knows he wants one, and he wants one badly, considering that their playoff chances are on the line here, entering this game with a 27.7% chance of making it in. I know Ty France has 10 home runs. He was looking for number 11. Now Josh Rojas, two bats. His first pitch. Oh, this was wild. Might have hit him, but they're saying ball one.
That just missed his elbow, and then Maldonado, off the attempted catch, almost hit him in the elbow.
Yeah, almost putting Rojas at first base. Second time this go, and this will be line over to Pena, and from Abreu, 2 outs. Now we have Justin Topa warming up for the Mariners. So it's not Matt Brash, it is Topa warming up.
You think with the luxury of the 5 runs, you can go ahead and go with Topa instead of Brash and save him from when you really need him.
So how Bennett Sosa has been pitching, you'd imagine that the Astros would keep him for the 7th inning with the way he's going here up against J.P. Crawford. Crawford does not take a swing at it. It was going into the strike zone. Should have taken a chance there, 0-1.
Hey, Alec, honestly, I completely agree with you. Whether or not Sosa can go ahead and give you some extra outs and all that, I would do it because he's been the sharpest pitcher so far for Houston.
So far, so good. And that time, Crawford took a chance at it inside the strike zone. A little late, 0-2.
Because even if, let's say, they don't win this game, he can go ahead and stretch it out. At least you're making sure that the other relievers for Houston are being used for tomorrow's game.
Exactly, and that is a point of emphasis. We have a 1-2 count that last row to the right of the zone.
I'm surprised that pitch was not called a strike that you're about to see. I apologize. I think I'm a little ahead of you. That was a perfect pitch for Sosa.
Yeah, it was on the line there. The umpires might have made a mistake. It was on the line, just got enough for potential strike. Now this count is even 2-2. And now pitch number 14 and swing. And what? A little error, I'm believing. So this is going to be debated.
It looks like he just got a piece of that last pitch that you called there, so he's still alive at 2-2.
And so he just got a piece here. And this one flown to the left side. The foul zone will play on here in the 6th inning. So George Kirby's gone the first 6. His night is done. And what a night it was for him. So with Bennett Sosa, pitch number 16 here. Too high, full count.
I know several years ago when the Kansas City Royals won the World Series, but there's 7, 8, 9 of Wade Davis and all of them. They're able to get the job done. Seattle trying to do the same thing here.
And to spark a potential Cinderella run if they get to the playoffs here. Sosa pitches. And another foul ball, this time to the right. And this run continues on. It seems to be going forever.
Yeah, J.P. Crawford, they're showing on the Root Sports side. His strikeout and walk rate is way lower and way higher. That's what you want as he digs in.
So far, 8 attempts at this bat. Entering attempt number 9 here. This one, swing! And a miss. That is the 6th inning. And Bennett Sosa, have yourself an inning.
Yeah, he looked good. He's looked good. He's been the best pitcher so far for Houston. Kind of makes you wonder that maybe he'll get some more time as this season continues to move on. You're looking for a postseason push because I'm looking for anybody right now that's going to go ahead and give me some outs and look confident. This is important outs right now, even if Houston doesn't get back in this game, as I've said, to not stretch out everybody else. And for George Kirby, I'm glad you made the mention there. Whether it's 6 innings, looks like his night's done, as you said. That's 6 scoreless against a Houston team. That is nothing to sneeze at on that side. So great day for Kirby. Again, he was going into it with an 11-10 record and 3.58 ERA. Certainly looks like he's going to get another win and lower those numbers. So great outing for George Kirby. He was fantastic.
Very exceptional outing with helping the Mariners go up 5-0. Especially that first inning. That first inning was the highlight of the night for George Kirby and the Mariners defense.
I'm glad you said that because when we called that stuff in real time, I thought it was quite obvious to say, look, I mean, this first inning could have easily gotten out of hand. This could have been a completely different game that gave Houston all the momentum. What does he do? He shuts the door with one out, the bases loaded, able to get out of it with Abreu to get two and then get the next out on that side. And Seattle just kind of stuck with it. And they were able to get an opportunity when they put runners on the third inning side. And look, they were able to find a way to get a couple runs. I know there's been some errors there in between Altuve and Bregman, but they took advantage of the situation. In Houston, really their only chance, whether it was the sixth and the first, they had chances, five hits, excuse me, but three errors. And Seattle on the other end, 5 runs, 6 hits. It's just one team's come to play today, as far as I'm concerned, and one team has not.
It feels like the script has been flipped when you think about yesterday.
No, absolutely. Because when you have somebody like Verlander, I think it gives you a little bit of confidence. And we'll have to see if Framber Valdez can do that tomorrow for the Houston Astros. He can absolutely be untouchable as well. So this is going to be a first look for me, all things concerned, for Justin Topa. 72 games played, 231 ERA, 66 innings, 59 strikeouts and 17 walks, 3 for 5 in save opportunities. Not a save opportunity now, but just as important. So his numbers at 227, that's really good out of the bullpen right now for the Mariners. But what else is new?
Yeah, first look of him, and they needed services from Los Bomberos, the firefighters in English. So I'm saying that in Spanish because that nickname was coined by Andres Munoz back last year, last August. Oh!
That one hurt me, Alec. That one got him in the inside of the left knee.
Oh, just when I was talking about Los
Oh.
Bomberos. So now, Yainer Diaz seems to be having to walk over to first base, or if it's not him, then one of his replacements.
Man, that's going to be an inside bone bruise that's not going to feel good tomorrow.
Definitely not. So he's going to get walked off. So there'll be a replacement for him at first base as a result.
Yeah, if Diaz doesn't stay in, they'll definitely need that. He's good. They're going to have a runner at first regardless. So Topa on his first pitch, he's going to go ahead and deliver some pain, literally, as Diaz is in at first.
Oh, so he's getting walked off, and getting looked at by the other coaches. And he's walking visibly slow.
Looks like he's going to stay in this game on my end, so he will be at first. And I bet that they're thinking on this side, at least if I'm Diaz, hopefully I don't hit into a ground ball where I need to run. Give me a few seconds here. Let me shake it off.
He's fighting for the pain here as everyone's looking at him. So they're taking their time to look at the situation with Diaz. But so far, he seems to be being the tough warrior that he is.
So he's going to snap in a slider, as Justin Tobas. Chas McCormick is going to bat seventh. He's got a runner on first, which is Diaz. Topa now quickly into an 0-2 attempt. McCormick thought about it, but I believe he was just able to pull the bat back, make it 1-1.
Oh, so it looked close. It looked very close. Though McCormick got back on time for the 1-1 count. This was going outside.
He stays with the fastball on the left field side, and Teoscar has to play it on a hop, and yet again, in between the 6th and 7th, the Astros have danger looming at first and second with nobody out.
Well, danger coming in and coming out fast. I know the pitch over to Diaz right on the knee hurt a bit, and literally, I mean, but Chas McCormick helped out some more there with that squeeze right between first and second, forcing Teoscar Hernandez to come out from his usual spot of left fielder and plate his right down as another base hit after that wild pitch.
So Justin Topa, 2 batters into his day, a hit by pitch and a single. And this is going to go ahead and bring up Jeremy Pena again, and then Martin Maldonado. I will say this. If you have an opportunity for a pinch hitter, on that end, you would think you have to do so. Looks like John Singleton is now on deck for Maldonado. Singleton is a feast or famine type of guy. If you think about Joey Gallo, I'm either hitting a home run or I'm striking out. And that looks like from what they're going for right now. And I was just going to say Scott Service might want to think about getting his bullpen warm again. It looks like they're starting to do that. Seattle can't afford to give up too many runs here. I think 2 would be okay, but you got to make sure this doesn't get out of hand. As this one is in on the hands of Pena, he does not offer. Make it 2-1.
Oh, so yeah, he deferred that one right between strike zone and himself, and that was the right call there. The fans don't like that because it seemed that Pena got right through the batting area too. Yep, it was so close, but not enough.
Over the head of Rojas, and this is going to load the bases.
Oh, Rojas almost had that one. And he was trying to get that one right through the hand, but it was just right over the head. And for that, the Astros are now in the position they were in the first inning. Except this time around, they have no outs, so they can breathe a little easier now.
Yes, they can. And again, if the Astros are able to do some damage here, you got to thank Sosa on the other side, Alec, for pretty much going an inning in 2/3 and looking really good and keeping the scoreline held at 5.
For sure. And the Mariners need this very big here.
So Scott Service, he's not messing around here. Justin Topa came on, and now he's going to leave with the bases loaded. He pulled a Montero here, and now Matt Brash is going to have to play cleanup duty.
It seems that way because the original plan was to have Brash on the mound here throwing. Because Topa is basically doing the exact same thing that Montero did back in the 5th inning. Now you have Matt Brash filling in, and that is the case we go over throughout this TV timeout.
Yeah, it's exactly not what you wanted here for the Mariners. Again, I know it's a 5-run lead, but now you have bases loaded, no outs. You don't need to tell me what could actually happen to the rest of the broadcast and what could quickly change with a little grand slam there in the mix with John Singleton due up next. So that's going to replace Martin Maldonado. They do have backup catchers available on that side. I'm not sure if they're still going to be using Vasquez on that end or whatever the Astros are still rolling with. I'd have to dig a little bit deeper into that lineup, but that'll be available there. It's an opportunity to move on from Maldonado, who only bats 193, so they'll certainly do that. But the Astros definitely have bats that they can use off the bench in a situation like this.
They definitely do. When you look at them, Mauricio Dubon, Gray Kessinger, the aforementioned John Singleton, Jake Myers, and the other designated hitter, Michael Brantley. Those are those 5 guys that you look at for filling in if anyone were to come out here. Technically, Yainer Diaz is the backup catcher, but with that knee injury, a bone bruise, you'd wonder if he's going to be truly filling in for Martin Maldonado into the bottom of the 7th.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to be able to fill in today just for letting everybody know because he's a DH. If you go ahead and move him to catcher, what's going to end up happening is you lose your DH spot and you got to put a pitcher in there. So they're not going to do that. They're going to keep Yainer at the DH side. And again, I'm looking at from what you showed about from the Root Sports side, the Angels opening the can on the Texas Rangers. Did the scoreline change at all, or is it still the same?
We have a final score from there, 9-3 Angels.
Jeez.
What a beating.
So this could be an opportunity for some movement here. Again, the Rangers, they're going to lose a game depending on this. The Mariners 3.5 back of the division. The Astros only 2 games back. Now Matt Brash, 296, 67 innings, 103 strikeouts, only 27 walks, 4 saves. Again, that doesn't count right now, but essentially they're going to need a saving of some runs here as John Singleton will get set to dig in with the bases loaded in the top of the 7th.
And they'll need this here to keep the Astros scoreless entirely. They cannot afford to have another one of those deep balls coming up, especially when one of those barely missed Josh Rojas.
Yes. It was a diving catch opportunity right down the middle. Now, Brash, that is a gorgeous slider right on the black of the top part of the strike zone as Singleton takes 0-1.
You're right on the line, right side, top right corner. Beautiful placement there to be slightly out of the reach.
This is bounced right out in front of Cal Rowley. He keeps it in front of him, so the runners will stay at that they are. It is 1-1.
Well, this could have been even more dangerous there, but you do realize that there's a third guy, there's a guy at third base. So if he decides to take off and run, he can easily be tossed out.
Yeah, you can't take any chances right now for the Astros, and if John Singleton can do that one over again, he wouldn't have offered at it, busted him way inside at the legs. That's good for Brash, though. Makes it 1-2 as he tries to weasel his way out of this. Again, it was Justin Topa, hit by pitch, couple singles from his 7th. He departs. He's responsible for the 3 runners on, and Brash has to limit the damage. This is hit high in the air, but this will be a shallow fly ball for Teoscar. That will send the runner for third, which is Diaz. He will score, and the Astros get on the board. It's 5-1 on the sac fly.
Oh, a sacrifice fly that time for John Singleton. And even though the Astros are on the board, it's still a long way to go here. So someone is tossed out at third, but there were runners at first and second. So long way to go here for the Astros, as I said again. But still, a good start for Houston. They want to get back in this game.
That was a pitch on the second look of the replay that just got in on his hands. It was right down the middle. If he could have moved that maybe an inch to the left, that could have absolutely been a grand slam. But nonetheless, Jose Altuve will dig in with runners at first and second and 1 out. The Astros need to be able to add more to this. Brash looking to close the door. And again, yet another good block by Raleigh. That could have easily gone to the backstop.
And seeing the runners at first and second, that's Pena and McCormick. Speedy guys who can easily deliver damage which way you can go.
Jose Altuve, dangerous, takes a 99 right on the left side of the box. Perfect placement there. And Altuve, again, he can hit any of those pitches out for doubles and home runs. He's got to dig in, try to find something he likes just to keep it alive. He's very good at slashing it, even out of the zone. This destroys his bat, and this goes down the left field line foul.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one right now. It destroyed his bat. I mean, that is a very, very fastball there that time by Matt Brash. So basically, there goes one bat, chopped the wood there. He has to go get another one.
Yeah,
destroyed it, broke it into pieces.
The piece of the pine almost went far enough to greet Eugenio Suarez.
And he right down for the left side, and hello and goodbye.
1-2, a looping curveball way out of the zone, and we'll do it again at 2-2. It's Jose Altuve and Alex Bregman, unless Altuve hits into a double play. That's what Brash badly needs now. Or a strikeout. Again, Justin Topa has given up 1 run. He's responsible for all the rest of it. Let's Brash with a bases loaded situation. And he throws Altuve with an off-speed pitch. He's going to sit down.
The powers of Elsa come in this time on Matt Brash. Right down through the right center. And Altuve was caught looking at it. Out number 2. And very rarely do you see Altuve miss chances like these. That time he looks at it the entire way, just caught staring at Matt Brash. You think about the broken bat. You think if he was thinking about that pitch.
And then Alec, right after that, after he breaks the bat and gets Altuve strike 3 looking, he throws a 101-mile-an-hour fastball to get out at second. Matt Brash, he did the job.
He sure did, especially with the pitch right afterwards, getting Alex Bregman out. No chance for Bregman to get anything. And so far for Bregman, he had a bad night this game, and this bat right there does not change things, unfortunately for him and the Astros.
No, it's a situation where he's got to wear the collar a little bit, but I mean, that's 101 right in on the hands. Justin Topa left Brash in a situation with bases loaded again and no outs, and Brash able to get through it, giving up just one run. Again, it's not earned against him, but that's about as good as it gets. And now the Mariners can breathe a sigh of relief here.
And they can. You can say if this earns Brash another inning heading into the 8th for them, we're in the middle of December right now, but it's fair to wonder if this earns Brash an extra inning into the tail end of this game.
Yeah, I know he'd probably be in a little bit of the pitch count with Scott Service because he is one of the top arms, but I wouldn't even disagree with you there. I mean, he looked as cool as a cucumber. You don't get any worse situation than bases loaded and no outs. So able to get to that with just one when, again, we can talk about it toward the end of the game story and everything else when I get all that stuff done. The Astros, it's not like they didn't have chances in this game. Couple costly errors, couple innings and situations where they don't score, or in a situation like that in the top of the 7th where you had bases loaded, no outs, and you only score one, they kind of shot themselves in the foot in this game.
And they've left many runners stranded on bases, except for one. Just one run that came in this inning. Think about the first inning and this inning as well. If the Astros are going to lose this, outside the Bregman miscues, leaving these runners stranded on bases is going to come back to haunt them.
Yeah, they're going to have to pretty much take the game, as we've talked about, but it bears repeating when they play again tomorrow. Everything the Astros have done in this game, they want to do the opposite tomorrow. And to my surprise, they are going to put Yonder Diaz in behind the plate. So, again, with the DH spot moving that over, that does mean that you're going to have to go ahead and put a pitcher in the situation to go ahead and try to hit for you. So maybe they feel like that's not going to get to that part of the order, but be that as it may, Julio Rodriguez will take a strike just on the black. Phil Maton will dig in. He's pitched 63 innings of work this season. He's a very dependable right-hander. Again, you wish you would have had that a little bit more for Miguel Montero on that end, as he just was not sharp. Again, Justin Topa, he could have said the same thing as it was bases loaded and no outs, but Matt Brash was able to clean it up. And Rodriguez now, it's 2-1.
You think about Julio Rodriguez taking chances there. He did not those first two times. He tried to bunt that first one, decided against it, and then these two were outside the strike zone. This kid knows how to read where the ball is going. He has an excellent eye.
Yes, he does, and it's kind of amazing to me of someone that can hit about 30 home runs thinking about a bunt, but if you're talking about the speed percentile from 0 to 100, I mean, Rodriguez is in the high 90s, so he can do it. 2-2. This one is served foul. This was a curveball that was way low, but we'll do it again.
Taking a chance on that pitch that led to the 2-2 count because it was going right down towards the strike zone. And that time Rodriguez responded with that bat. He knew it was going into the strike zone, decided to take a chance, and you need to take those chances here.
So I want to highlight this from Root Sports real quick. So if they win, they'll be 9-3 against Houston, but the Seattle Mariners are 1-8 against the Rangers, as this one goes foul.
A win here against the Astros will do wonders here. And that was a really quick bat. Even though it was a foul ball, I like the speed and the exit velocity of these balls from Rodriguez.
Yeah, he seems to hit everything hard. He'll take a changeup way low. Again, they mentioned that earlier, about a 13% barrel rate when everyone else is about 8%. So that just means he gets the middle of the bat. He hits the ball hard. He also hits it to all fields. He's not a pull hitter. He'll do damage wherever it is. Full count pitch. This one in on the fist. This should be an easy toss over for Maton and Abreu. And Rodriguez is out.
I mean, not one of those fast bats that you would expect from Rodriguez. This one was rather a slower one. So as we're wondering about the speed and exit velocity of these balls, this one was rather a slow exit velocity that time around. Little disappointing for me to see that.
Yeah, sometimes you got to give the execution to the pitcher. I will say that. Rodriguez can't look like a pitching machine all the time, but he's done so for the majority of the season. Kyle Raleigh got a pitch right down the middle. It was a lollipop curveball. And Tucker, all he can do is play that on a hop. That's a big mistake there for Maton. But I think can take a sigh of relief there. It's only a single.
Well, this was going deep indeed. And knowing that Kyle Tucker, he was spotting that. He knew the ball placed from Cal Raleigh. Even though he didn't get the tying home run of Julio Rodriguez, this was good enough to get him right on first base to extend the Mariners' great night thus far. I mean, everything is going right for them. They need this for the rest of the night and tomorrow and that 4-game series with the Rangers.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, as much as they need this tonight, they need this all the way to the end of Sunday.
They do, especially Sunday, and the game's ending right around 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock Eastern time for those living around that area, because the last game started at 3 o'clock and 3:15, right around those times.
I know for any Seattle fans, I'm sure they're going to be keeping their eye on Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks, but I think you might have to have a couple TVs.
Yeah, multiple TVs here, both on Geno Smith and company, and another on Julio Rodriguez and company. Not to mention the Kraken season starting on Tuesday the 10th of October.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, so we will definitely reconnect when it gets back to all that point. Again, as we've said, as we get later in, not only for baseball playoffs, maybe even some of the World Series, because I don't want to do that on my own, but we'll definitely be reconnecting with a lot of hockey broadcasts as well, because again, as I said, we try to get that at least once a week. Teoscar Hernandez now on the 1 and 2. He does an offer at it. Make it 2 and 2. Gabe Spire now is in the bullpen for Seattle. I've heard the name. I've seen him pitch. He's absolutely immaculate on that end. So if you do get to watch it, I would expect good things.
Basically at a Matt Brash level of good things with what we saw from him throughout the 7th inning. And Gabe Spire looking to replicate that.
So as Hernandez stays alive now on the 1 for 3, again able to get a single in this game. Maton now 15 pitches into his day out of the bullpen. Not everything has been so clean for the Astros right now, regardless of any pitchers that they've thrown out there. Seattle's played very well. Now they just have to get back into the weekend series with the Rangers and turn around the 1-8 record. They got to find a way to pretty much get a sweep. And Hernandez fastball at 89, but he got punched out of the top of the zone.
Took a chance right on the line there. This could have been either way, depending on the umpire's call. But Phil Maton able to catch him out on an 89-mile-an-hour changeup right at the top. And the guy, taking the notes there, able to write that down. Yep, taking notes.
Yeah, it's too close to call there as far as with the swing, because if you do lay off it, as you said there, it could have been called the strike. So the borderline ones, with 2 strikes against you, you got to protect the plate, and that's what he tried to do, but he struck out. Jared Kelenic takes the first pitch a little bit low, make it 1-0, as Maton getting set to dig in on the 1-0. This one is a fastball. This will brush off of the newly minted catcher in Diaz, and we'll do it again.
Hearing the fans there singing Country Roads by John Denver. Iconic song. TJ Oshie uses this as his goal song with the Washington Capitals.
Makes me wonder why I like TJ Oshie so much. I know he always does everything with class. I love to see him score goals, but unfortunately for me and for all the other fans, maybe not for you, Alec, because I know you're a Pittsburgh Penguins diehard, but it seems like the Penguins and the Caps are getting a little bit too old now. I'm going to miss seeing some of the names.
It seems that we're coming to the end of an era soon enough. We're seeing gray hairs on Sidney Crosby's latest headshots. That's when you know the end is coming.
Yeah, Sidney, I think, is only a year younger than me. I think he's 35 now on that side. And again, thinking about what was the draft class? Was it 2005, 2004?
Yeah, 2005 it is.
Yeah, it's been a long time on that side. That was my graduating year for high school side of it. So no wonder gray hairs and bound. It's 1-2 now against Kelnick, and Maton will get set to deliver, and a fastball is going to blow him away at 89. So Maton does the job, and the Astros, they're down 4. They need some runs.
Well needed for Maton because they were looking for his services. You would think that he would come on earlier in this game with the game plan that they're going with between him and Bennett Sosa. They decided to go with Rafael Montero first, and that didn't work out for Dusty Baker and company. And Maton did the job in inning number 7. You'd think that the Astros are going to roll with someone else for inning number 8 to try and get back into this game, and I don't think it's going to be Ryan Presley.
No, I wouldn't use him right now, Alec, considering you're probably going to need him tomorrow. It doesn't seem like the Astros get themselves into a situation. The only way I see Ryan Presley being used is if the Astros score like 5 runs right now. That's the only way.
With how the Mariners defense has been holding up, if they keep this up, that seems less and less likely throughout these ticking minutes. Every out becomes your enemy at this point.
Absolute agreement with you, my friend, on that side. Doesn't seem very likely. I know you've been brushing in on these scores. I just want to go back through this really quickly as far as what's pertinent to the wild card situation. D-backs get a monster win over the struggling White Sox. Man, they've been a disappointment all year. 15-4 as they're able to get that win there. Again, as Alex said, they were able to win in 10. The Phillies win 3-2 over the Pirates, so they're already locked in on that side. And then the Angels take out the Rangers 9-3, and the Padres, they're going to need a lot of help as they're 78-80 now, but they do get a 4-0 win. And when I look on the standing side of it, I'm just going to go ahead and click on the wild card just to make sure and see what moves. So Phillies are locked in, but the Diamondbacks do win, and the Cubs lose. So Diamondbacks got the second wild card spot at 83-74. Cubs with the loss, they dropped to 82-75, and the Marlins game gets postponed, so they only stay a half game out. Reds do win, they're 81-77, but they're a game and a half out. So the postponed game is going to be important for the Marlins. They're going to have to make that one up and get that W.
For sure, considering the circumstances, they're still in the races, and they need a big win in their doubleheader tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a crazy situation. You find yourself in the last week of the season in a doubleheader, and you got to win both.
And you have to. Rest in peace to Brooks Robinson, born 1937, and passed away just recently. So now we're back into this game. Matt Brash is still out there, rewarded his seventh inning with another extension into the 8th inning. So, and that ball was thrown up high. 1-0 count. This next one right onto the left side, blown by Yordan Diaz. It's going and it's caught. Julio Rodriguez with the catch, spotting this one right into the dirty areas, and out they go, up and running.
I was holding my breath there a little bit, Alec. Oh, a pitch right down the middle that Alvarez just missed. And then Teoscar and Julio didn't really designate who was going to catch that one, but J-Rod with the blazing speed able to get that out.
And J-Rod and that speed, utmost importance here for Seattle. They've been emphasizing that with his unbelievable run. This one, this was between the zone and the next guy, Kyle Tucker, King Tuck, 1-0 count. Yeah, that looked close enough. It looked like it had the distance for Yordan Alvarez, but eventually right to the dirty area and to the glove of Julio Rodriguez. 1-1 count as this one was on the line right side.
Yeah, Astros have gotten close a couple times with Alvarez there and then Bregman a couple innings ago of just missing home runs, but just is not enough in this type of game.
It just is not enough. And speaking of just, Kyle Tucker just got one well beyond the area. They're going to say, count it as a strike, 1-2. And this next one will fly it over to the right side, and he's got himself a base hit. And that's what Houston needs. And actually, he got two bases up That's a double.
Yeah, he roped that one down the right field lineup, a brash off-speed pitch, and Teoscar Hernandez had to play it off the bounce in right field. All he could do was play it off the hop. And Tucker, again, for a situation where the Astros haven't played all that well, he can't put it on King Tuck. He's been good.
Yeah, he has been good from this night. Perhaps the best Astro on the night.
Yes.
Now up comes John Singleton. Jose Abreu, I meant, because he's the next one right after Kyle Tucker, and that one is an 0-1.
You can always pick out Jose Abreu with the gold chain.
Always. Because he wears this one with pride, number 79, in the blue and orange. This one right down through bottom right. Got caught staring at that ball 0-2.
Yeah, anything close now, Abreu's going to have to swing at it. Those are two nasty pitches there for Matt.
As is mentioned, I said this earlier, any swing the rest of this way is a good swing. You need to take chances here. That time he took a chance, you'll stay alive on this foul ball right side.
Yeah, you can go anywhere right now if you're brash. You might go high with the fastball or way outside with the slider. We'll see what he does.
And pitching right now at the bullpen, that would be Ryan Stanek for the Astros. 100-mile-an-hour fastball and a swing goes right off the bat.
Brash certainly bringing it right now. It's his second in triple digits. He got 101, then he got Bregman on it on the hands.
I mean, that looked close to being a swing and a miss because that one was a bullet right down Main Street. Here comes the next one, and on the line, they're going to say ball.
My goodness, that did not miss at all. Abreu got lucky.
Yeah, he got lucky there. The fans saying, call a strike there. 99 miles an hour on that fastball. Now his next pitch, it's bouncing and caught by Matt Brash and an easy toss. And 2 outs now for H-Town. That'll leave Kyle Tucker stranded. Oh, never mind. He ran over to third.
It's going to bring up Yainer Diaz. Again, he's had the busy night. He started as the DH. Now he's the catcher on that side. See if he can come through for Houston.
And switch of position here. He's fighting through that ball bruise on his knee after taking that hit on that pitch earlier on the night by Justin Topa. He swings and misses as this one was going outside the strike zone 0-1.
Well, he's stared at a couple pitches right now, Alec. He's down in the count 0-2.
Yeah, I saw that one right now. He stared at that one. Mariners looking to get one more out here to transition to the bottom of the 8th, holding this 5-1 lead. Kyle Tucker at third. Cannot take any chances here right now. But Diaz looking to get a base hit to get Tucker in. Swing and a miss.
That's filthy, my friend. I mean, Matt Brash has absolutely done the job. It's 2 innings of immaculate work. He only gave up 1 run. That wasn't even his fault. That was just in tough with the bases loaded. You're talking about lock and key. That was Matt Brash, ladies and gentlemen.
For sure, with Matt Brash coming and delivering 2 stellar innings. So basically, this could very well end this night and leave the job left to none other than Andres Munoz to close it out.
I know they talk about Munoz being the flamethrower, but when I see Brash hit a couple triple digits a couple times, I wonder who should get that title.
Munoz has competition for that title.
Yes,
of course, he can throw triple digits here, but we've seen these pitches from Brash. Several times he has hit triple digits there, like on one of those times. And that ball which Diaz struck and missed, it was going above the strike zone. Decided to take a chance, and it snake bit him.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm seeing all these bullpen arms from the Mariners, and I'm thinking about myself for the Tigers. Boy, I just want one.
and I wish we can get that same thing for my Pirates. We talked about Mitch Keller and Johan Oviedo. We just need another starting pitcher or 2 to complete the lineup. I get some action of Quinn Priester as well.
Yeah, I know he's a youngster that has had some value that they expect to get better. I think the only other one I know on the back end of the bullpen is David Bednar still a Pirate?
He's our closer.
Okay, yeah, because I know he's a good one.
Very good one. And a true Pittsburgher playing for his hometown Pirates as well.
That's very cool.
And to go with the bullpens between him, Jose Hernandez, Ryan Baruki, Carmen Blodzinski, Dari Moreta, all those guys, you need to fill in the bullpen. So their size here is saying playoff bound and win. Of course, the Mariners want to get this win to stay in the playoff race. It's going to come out until the final games of the regular season to be decided.
Yeah, so if it ends today the way that it's supposed to, the Mariners will be just a game and a half a game out, of the wild card race. The margins are razor thin.
Slim to none. That's basically what they're going by ever since going 50 and 50. Ryan Stanek in, wearing 45 for the Astros, immediately throws a high ball 1-0 with Eugenio Suarez at bat.
He's got velocity too, but he's no Brash and Munoz.
And basically the ceiling being at 97 is this one thrown to Bregman, and he throws it out all the way to first base, and that is 1 out.
Alec, I know I half joke here, but was that Bregman's best play of the game?
By the looks of it, it seems as it is. So it's been a lot of low lights here for Alex Bregman, but he spotted this one right on the left line and thrown it to Jose Abreu, and that is the first out here at the bottom of the 8th. So Ryan Stanek already up and running here, 97 and 95 on his first 2 pitches, now facing Dominic Canzone. .225 batting average, .672 OPS on the season. So he comes in, and this one he just stared at it right center, coming in at 98.01.
Yeah, it's not too fair. You get to face that 98 right coming off the bench when you're coming in cold.
Yeah, he's just got some limited time of warming up, and he took a low ball on that one. They're going to say strike 2. He took a chance at that low ball. Looked more like a golf swing. Rory McIlroy has some competition.
Yeah, he definitely mistimed that one.
So Canzone filling in for Mike Ford and Dylan Moore here. Batting for the 3rd time, and right down for right center, Ryan Stanek has a strikeout here.
I would say Dominic Canzone on that one looked like me if I was at the dish.
Oh, man. That was harsh. So now the bat relies on the hands or the bats of Ty France here for the Mariners. They're up 5-1, looking to put away the Astros here. Game 2 of 3 in this series. High ball here. It's rolling on its way and through. Viva la Francia! Ty France 6-1 Seattle. They will not go away.
He went from a low light to an absolute highlight, and I find it very funny to believe that I get to see another Ty France home run. There hasn't been a lot of them this season, but here comes the Trident and the popcorn and everything else. That's a dead center shot. Again, just 404 feet, but that center field's only 400. Doesn't matter. Only his 11th bomb of the season, but his 8th at home. That's where his power flashes. He's just able to get that as a wall scraper, but a big extra run for the Mariners.
And a one of extra importance, it widens their gap to 5. The Astros need a miracle here if they were to come back there. Swing and a miss that time by J.P. Crawford, but that was an absolute cannon by Ty France.
And from what we talked about, again, he was a 250 batter in this series in these 11 games. That's his first home run and first RBI.
Oh, we'll love to see more of this down the stretch from Seattle if they were to make this playoff push. I know the Astros, they're still hanging in there, but they're down by 5. Their AL West hopes, a wild pitch. This man hit the ground and went off of Diaz's knee. 0-2 count. So now
Yeah, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but the extra run there for France can be absolutely big. Maybe you can save Munoz.
It could. You can save it for tomorrow in these situations. Now this one's a light tap, and out will come either one of Munoz or Campbell to decide this game. Potentially, after that catch by Pena, will have you take it away for the ninth, and what will be a very critical ninth inning for both of these two teams.
It's so funny when I think, because I just go back to it, and again, I apologize to Dominic Canso, but that was pretty bad on that side. And then Ty France comes back, hits an absolute bomb, puts it right to center field. That's what Seattle needed. And now all they essentially have to do is get 3 more outs and wrap this night up pretty clean. It was a not so clean game for the Astros. It was a very clean game for the Mariners so far. We'll see what happens in these final 3 outs.
And a hat tip to George Kirby and Matt Brash as
Yes.
well when you talk about the pitching staff. They have been so lights out here. The only earned run coming from Justin Topa. But that's been the only mistake from Seattle in this game. Outside that, it's been a shutout by everyone else.
Yeah, it makes me wonder again from when we talk about going into it. You have such a good record against the Astros, but then you're 1-8 against Texas. Again, on the other side, they dominated Oakland as you'd expect them to do. They got a winning record against the Angels as well. I think there were 3 games above 500 against them. So they've done really well against the division, but they've got to win tomorrow. And then a 4-game series against Texas. Again, 1-8. They've essentially got to go 4-8 or 5-8 on that end, because they will get a game to pick up, because Texas lost a very critical game against the Angels, which you should not expect that to happen at any point. But I mean, that's again, as we talk about the razor thin margins that are left, this is going to be a wire to wire finish all the way from this Monday night to Tuesday morning, all the way to Sunday evening.
It will be the rest of the way, considering where these 3 teams are at, and very likely whoever finishes second here will get the final wild card spot, because we expect that the Blue Jays hold on to that second spot and the Rays get the first spot, because how strange is it that you're getting close to 100 wins and you don't even have the division lead?
Yeah, it really is. I can't remember too many times that that's ever been the case. And to my surprise, I guess I shouldn't say that, because I understand how important the win is. Maybe that's why, above all else, Andres Munoz is going to get set to close.
I was having a feeling that this was going to be the case. He was the closer the last time around we saw the Mariners play, and this time he'll have those duties here.
Yeah, Scott Service, I understand both ends of it. And on this side, this is what we have. You can't afford to blow this game at all. So Munoz, in a non-save situation, he's got to be the guy. Close the door. Even if you give up a couple runs, that's okay. But don't let it get any more than that. You're at least away from grand slam distance. But now he hits McCormick in the back.
Oh, these first 2 pitches. Oh, my. These first 2 pitches have not looked like the Andres Munoz that we have been expecting. Second time that we've seen an Astro getting hit by a pitch. We know about the fast pitches by Munoz, and McCormick clearly felt the effects of that pitch from Munoz. I mean, he's doing damage, and literally.
That is right in the left side of the back, into the nerve, and in between where Diaz got hit on the left side knee and McCormick. If you're going to get picking a spot to get hit, Alec, those are 2 spots that you're not going to choose, as McCormick is very slow to get up, because he ate a fastball right into the back. And if there is any time this point in the season, as we're late, McCormick very slow to get up. Now he's starting to walk under his own power with the help of Dusty Baker and the other coaches on that end. But Chas McCormick is an absolutely dynamic center fielder, and realistically, they need to make sure that he's in the lineup tomorrow. They can't afford to lose him at all.
They cannot at any point, because when you have Chas McCormick, he's your best center fielder available.
Yeah.
So, and if you don't have him, that'll go put Jake Myers out of tougher spots.
Yeah, Jake Myers is not the hitter that Chas McCormick is, not even close.
No. In fact, when you look at it, Jake Myers, I figure him more as a defensive guy.
Yes.
And comparing between the two and Chas McCormick, I would take McCormick any day over Myers.
So that might have some implications. Again, you don't want to see anybody get injured, but the point I'm going to make is an obvious one. If that's another piece of ammunition that the Astros don't have tomorrow, who knows? This one is a base hit to the right field line, and Andres Munoz Day is starting a little rough. First and second now.
Well, when Scott Cervais put him onto the mound, this is not what he was expecting
No.
for his first 4 pitches. You expected Andres Munoz, who can close out a game, electric with all those fast pitches that he can deliver night in and night out. But this is not the Munoz that we've been seeing here. This time around, able to fit in right between first and second, a high ball, not too high though. But then again, Houston's not going to go away that easily.
And Alec, again, I know it's a non-save situation, but I mean, this is as critical of a game as you can get. You got to lock in here. If you're Munoz, 100. This one, I believe they're going to say that he went because I see the fans clapping. Mauricio Dubon is the pinch hitter, 280 average, 9 bombs, and 43 RBI. He's down in the count 0-1.
Munoz, even if it's a non-save situation, still able to make these batters uncomfortable through his fastballs. That time, 98.
So they cannot turn the double play, but they do get the out at second. It's runners on first and third with 1 out here for Munoz. Mariners are up 6-1. They're trying to close this game out. What's critical for both of these teams, as Alec has told us, he gave us scoring updates throughout this broadcast. The Angels absolutely trounced the Rangers, so that will help the Astros even in a loss. But if Seattle wins this, they're only a half game out of the wild card. Jose Altuve now with ducks on the pond at first and third and 1 out. And he goes after 100, and he wasn't close.
I'm just getting it right now. Yep, that swing and a miss. Even though if you swing and a miss, those triple-digit throws, very hard to get. That's why I love Munoz's game.
This is served down the right field line. That's going to score a run. And Altuve's got his 3rd hit of the game. He's 3 for 5.
Exactly what Altuve was looking for. He's had himself a night. He and Kyle Tucker, you can argue, were the 2 best Astros tonight, and that has been the case there. In and out, and that'll get Houston their 2nd run. So Scott Cervais is going to check on Munoz in the meantime. Not the night we were expecting from him, but Altuve, even in the losing effort, he's doing his best in keeping Seattle in this game. And that was shown on that 2nd run.
And Alec, I know Altuve's been at this thing in the MLB for a long time, but he's got to be as clutch as I can remember. I mean, he could just take any pitch and serve it to where nobody is. And that's important on that side as he keeps the train rolling right now. And this will dig back into Alex Bregman. We talk about him wearing the collar. If he gets any sort of base hit right now, I think all those ills will be forgotten.
That is the point that Houston wants to get here in the 9th inning and putting the Mariners in a position where they are uncomfortable. That happened in the 1st inning, and that happened in the 7th inning.
So 9 hits in game 1, 10 hits in game 2. On that side, the Astros just need to come through. They're down 4 runs right now. Mariners trying to hold on. Munoz has not been sharp as it's 0-1. A fastball at 100 is about 5 inches off the plate. It's 1-1.
Oh, not the pitch that I was looking for from Munoz because he can throw those fastballs. Just need to get those lower down. An uncharacteristically sluggish night for Munoz.
That's the sharp slider that we're looking for. And Bregman misses that one.
Yeah, right on the line. The fans like that. For sure they're going to cheer. This is the Andres Munoz they know and love.
22% MLB K rate in this situation. Bregman only at 12. They say he's going to make contact with the baseball. Needs two to do so now, down 1-2 on the count. Munoz, pitch number 12. Now third base line. Suarez, step on the back, throw to first. They say they got him. Mariners win.
Oh my God! This has been the most dramatic I've seen here in their playoff push. They're not going away here. They're saying they're still here and staying alive, staying alive. You had to throw that out there. We're talking about puns and references. It's never a bad time to sing this because what a night it's been for the Mariners. What a night it's been for the pitching, namely George Kirby and Matt Brash and Andres Munoz, who has started off rather sluggishly. He made up for that the last part with a strike with that out and
looks
just right through.
Looks like Munoz going to have to dig back in. Dusty Baker needs to challenge this one because Bregman's safe at first. They got the out at third. There's two outs here. Bregman, no doubt, or Dusty Baker, is going to be on the phone because Bregman's safe.
So that's what they're looking at right now. So Eugenio Suarez got the out. We'll see. Oh, yeah, it feels Bregman is safe. So we may have to correct ourselves there. He got the foot down before the catch by Ty France.
There should be two outs and Bregman at first here. So first and second, Bregman able to hustle down the line. That was still a great jump throw opportunity for Suarez. He did all he could. Bregman just had enough speed to be able to beat that down the line. Now this will bring up Yordan Alvarez.
A position in which Houston needs to capitalize on here and now.
This is the bat that you want, and at 100 follows this one straight back. That's the third time Munoz has hit the triple digits here.
Oh, that triple digit throw being deadly.
Yordan Alvarez now waiting on the 0-1, 30 bombs, 96 RBI, 294 average, and a 99. He will look that one the whole way through. And if you're Munoz, I don't care if you give up a 3-run shot or anything else like this. You have to make sure you don't walk Alvarez here to put yourself in a grand slam situation. That's a situation I'd look at least. 1-1, center field. Julio Cavs underneath it, and now the Mariners have won it. 6-2 final. They made the fans sweat a little bit, but Alec, this game was a lot of fun. And the Mariners came through when they absolutely had to tonight. But the job's not done for the rest of the week. But step one is a success. They win 6-2.
Oh, it took us a little video review to decide it. But now the Mariners, they can finally sing Staying Alive. They can finally go home for the moment. Celebrate tonight, but you're back tomorrow here. Work's not over. You have tomorrow, and then the rest of the regular season, those 4 games against the Rangers. They're still alive for the moment. They also need some help, and they need whoever between the Astros and the Blue Jays to get out because we all know that the Rays have made it in. Their position is locked in the playoffs. But this has been a tremendous push from them, and it continues on here. Somewhere Poseidon is all smiles on his face.
So just before we close out, Alec, I just want to throw this out there for anyone else that listens in on the end of it. So after this series against Seattle that will finish off with the 9:40 start on the local side 6:40, the next opponent for the Astros are the Arizona Diamondbacks at Arizona, who are fighting for their lives in the National League wildcard. So this will not be a cakewalk for the Houston Astros either.
Yeah, the Diamondbacks, they too are fighting for their playoff lives in the NL wildcard race. This is going to be a great finish to this MLB season between, no matter where we look in the AL, between the Blue Jays, Rangers, Astros, and Mariners, and the NL between the Marlins, Cubs, Reds, and Diamondbacks, most likely.
There's a lot still to be decided here, and there's less than a week to do so now. Alec, thank you for joining me on this one. I will be in contact with you very shortly. And again, very shortly, maybe even more so than a couple weeks at most, because I know we're going to be getting back into the NHL season. And if you do get an opportunity toward some MLB playoff games, let alone the World Series, I know I'm going to do that. Hopefully, I can borrow you at least for a couple casts. But if not, we'll definitely catch back up on the NHL season. I'll hit you up. You let me know what is coming up next for you on the schedule, and we'll talk soon, my friend.
Thanks, John. Yeah, we'll talk soon, definitely.
All right, see you guys.